ceasefire with Iran is in place, and as Linda Kenyon reports, direct talks could be next.
President Trump says he expects peace talks with Iran to take place in Pakistan. He told the New York Post those talks should happen very soon. Pakistan officials say those talks could begin as soon as Friday. The president says Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, his son-in-law Jared Kushner, and J.D. will be there, referring to Vice President Vance. He also said, quote, maybe J.D., I don't know. There's a question of safety, security.
There are different interpretations of the ceasefire deal. Iran sees it as a chance to keep charging ships using the Strait of Hormuz, as Elizabeth Palmer reports.
Petroleum Exporters Association is saying ships will not only have to pay a transit fee, but it's going to have to be paid in crypto, and they're going to have to be inspected before they pass, so that'll slow the whole transit down. In effect, Iran is already acting as if it's been accorded control of one of the world's most important energy arteries. It's an ominous sign for Iranians who were hoping this war would help get rid of a regime that they really despise. Now they fear it's about to become not only more self-confident, but more powerful and more brutal.
A Long Island architect has admitted his guilt in 7 murders known as the Gilgo Beach killings, and Michael Wallace reports he's confessed to another.
In a packed courtroom, Rex Heuermann admitted he strangled 8 women between 1993 and 2011. New York Law School professor Anna Kaminsky says the victims' families are probably feeling mixed emotions about today's guilty pleas.
For some of them, I'm sure it will be some closure, and for others, it will feel like just a very small piece of this horrible tragedy that they've been through.
Prosecutors have recommended 3 consecutive sentences of life without parole for Heuermann. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
A woman who admitted selling Matthew Perry ketamine will be sentenced today. Rick Montanez has more.
Jasveen Sangha, she is actually the 3rd of 5 people who will be sentenced in connection with Perry's death back in 2023. Sangha is the only one in that group whose plea deal includes acknowledgement of Perry's death. Prosecutors dubbed her the ketamine queen, saying she created an elaborate drug operation and catered to high-end and wealthy clients.
Pam Bondi will not be appearing April 14th for a deposition before the House Oversight Committee. A committee spokeswoman says she was subpoenaed in her capacity as Attorney General to answer questions in the Jeffrey Epstein case. On Wall Street today, stocks are higher. The Dow up 1,200 points. This is CBS News.
Go to the ends of the earth, half a world away. Reach for the stars.
If I take time to think, they might go get Brad.
On CBS, Sunday morning.
We're going to go straight to traffic because it's been a difficult morning. The First Avenue South Bridge is still closed. We still don't know what's going on, but there is a detour in place. We have some hope. The bridge was stuck open all morning, and it's now gone down, but we haven't heard anything from the State Department of Transportation yet about what the cause is or what's been going. Traffic is being cleared off the northbound bridge approach, and their traffic is being diverted on Holden Street, so plan for delays. Avoid that area right now. Federal Way to Seattle is 46 minutes, which is not bad for the average of this time of morning. There's less volume on the roads right now because of spring break, we are told. But right now, we also have some pressure on 405 northbound. Run to the Bellevue is 31 minutes. Snow crashes, just volume. The S-curves are very heavy, and there's backups on 167. Looking fairly good coming out of Bothell and Linwood. We do still have some standard off and on slowing, but it's not bumper to bumper. Slowing into Seattle starts from about the Haller Lake area at North 130th, so it's a doable commute getting in from the north end. This report brought to you by Wilcox Farms. For convenient, healthy snack on the go, look for ready-to-eat Wilcox hard-boiled eggs. Find Wilcox eggs at Costco, Metro Market, Safeway, and other local grocers.
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Jillian Raftery. 3 murders in just one night in Kent. Details have trickled into the newsroom over the last hour. Investigators say the first incident was a shooting near Kent Ridge High School. 2 people were found in the back of a backyard at a home there. Neighbors say they heard an argument, then someone opened fire. Shortly after, they heard cars speeding out of the area. Several miles away, just before midnight, someone found a man bleeding from a stab wound on a sidewalk outside a bar on West Meeker Street. Again, these 2 incidents are not believed to be related. No arrests have been made in either case yet. Anyone with information is asked to call the police tip line or email them. There's an effort to recall Governor Bob Ferguson over 2 empty spots on a campaign finance watchdog group. Connor Edwards tells the John Curley Show on KIRO News Radio there are only 3 members right now, and 3 are required to take any official action.
Now, if they can't take official action, what that means is, most critically, it means they can't do enforcement. So they can't penalize people or refer cases to the Attorney General's office when they're really breaking the rules and the public can't see their stuff.
The governor's office tells the Washington State Standard they've been working to fill those seats. The city of Tacoma is putting the brakes on new hires and promotions. They've launched a hiring freeze that will run through the end of the year to save money. Tacoma has projected a potential $15 million deficit for the 2027 budget. And not a great night for Seattle sports teams. The Mariners lost to the Rangers, deepening their losing record. Kraken men's hockey has also been on a losing streak, dropping their 6th straight game to the Minnesota Wild. The Torrent women's hockey team lost to number 1 Montreal. The team needs to win Wednesday in Ottawa to keep their slim playoff hopes alive. Now we're going to check your weather. Sunny today, just sunny, no, not really cloudy. High of 61, 65 tomorrow, and 68 by Friday. It's 41 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It is the Gee and Ursula Show. Happy Wednesday to all of you. Ursula is out today. I'll be solo today. Well, not really solo. I got my main man, Nick. Nick, good morning to you.
Good morning, yeah.
Yeah, good to see you, my man. And Sophia, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Any part of you nervous about just being with me today?
Nah, we're ready. I thought about it for a minute this morning. I was like, oh boy, it's me and G. And then I was like, we'll have some fun.
All right, good stuff. Make sure you send in your text messages by the Muckleshoot Casino Resort text line. That number is 888-973-5476. Let's get to it. Top stories of the day brought to you by Pendergast Law. All right. This right here is one of those conversations you need to lean in for. There's a lot happening right now. Talks of conflict with Iran, questions and concerns about the ceasefire, the rising tensions right now on the Strait of Hormuz. And once again, American lives and innocent civilians are caught up in the middle of decisions being made at the highest level. Joining us right now is retired 4-star General Barry McCaffrey here on the Gee and Ursula Show. General, I really appreciate your time, sir.
Good to be with you.
Let's get started. General, when you look at the current situation, the temporary ceasefire for 2 weeks, what's your initial thoughts, sir?
Well, the good news is we've got a ceasefire for 2 weeks, and apparently we'll have direct negotiations between the U.S. and the Iranians in Islamabad starting on Friday. So everything's going to get better once the shooting stops. And the follow-on question, though, is what's going to happen in the Gulf of Hormuz? Will the Iranians maintain essentially control over that international waterway? They didn't have control of it before the war. Right now, they can militarily dominate them, the straits, using ballistic missiles, drones, mini submarines, suicide surface craft. So they still have a military chokehold. If you back off the whole issue, though, I think the most important aspect of all this to me is the deranged Truth Social postings by the President of the United States on Easter Day and then again yesterday. And yesterday's post seemed to be calling for the annihilation of a civilization, its permanent loss. That is coded language for the employment of nuclear weapons. We can't live with a president who's illogical, incoherent, and lashing out at his enemies.
When that kind of language is used, and that language was a whole civilization could die tonight and never come back, when that kind of language is used, does that type of rhetoric, does it scare enemies or does it pour fuel on the fire, sir?
Well, I think it scares your friends to start off with. I mean, I can't imagine what the Europeans, the South Koreans, Australians, Japanese, and others are thinking of themselves, looking at this simply unhinged behavior by the President of the United States. We've never heard language like this ever in the history of this country. Bellicose, illogical, thrashing around. It's really a very threatening situation. Never mind the notion that we have walked away from our allies, the Persian Gulf allies to start with, the Europeans. It's a situation with unparalleled peril for the American people, in my judgment.
So before all of this, Iran did not have control of the Strait of Hormuz. But right now in this deal, they have control of it. And they also, if I'm right, they are imposing a $2 million fee per ship that goes through. Is it fair to say that before this all happened, those ships went through, they weren't being charged, but now they're being charged? What does this mean, and will this potentially continue for Iran to have control over the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, we're about to find out, starting on Friday. The two sides, the United States and Iran, have posed vastly different viewpoints on what this all means. It is of some concern, though, that the 10-point program that the U.S. is saying is an acceptable beginning for negotiations was the Iranian proposal. And it's vastly different from the Trump announced intention when he started this war. It's not a regime change. The Iranian people did not rise up and throw out their oppressors. By the way, they killed more than 30,000 Iranians just in the last few months. The nuclear program has not been brought under control. Iran remains a threat to Israel and the Persian Gulf states, among others, and they're demanding U.S. withdrawal from the 9 Middle East bases, military bases we have. So there's a huge chasm between Iran and the United States on the announced war games. I think it's also fair to say that Trump will not want to continue with an air-sea campaign against the Iranians. He's under tremendous political pressure. From a strategic sense, he's put himself in a box and can't find a way out. It was a superb air-sea campaign against targets in Iran, but it did not bring the political objectives that he had posed as his intention when he started this war.
You're listening to the voice of retired 4-star General Barry McCaffrey here on the Gee and Ursula Show. Sir, can you explain this? I've known and been around a lot of members of the military, and one of the focuses is you talk about the mission and having a clear objective to a mission. If you don't have a clear mission, because by the way, still to this day, I myself don't see what the mission is. If you don't have a clear mission, how dangerous is this for the troops in this, whether in air or on the ground?
Well, I think I'd probably put it in even larger context. Look, we take all of the most promising lieutenant colonels we have in the armed forces, we put them through the National Defense University, the Army War College, et cetera. The first thing we teach them is understand the political objective of the military operations you're about to design. And until you understand what you're trying to achieve, and again, I stress from a political perspective, you can't put together any sensible military campaign. That didn't happen. So we ended up with tactically and operationally an extremely well done effort by United States Air Force, Navy, U.S. Army THAAD Patriot missile batteries. They did a splendid job with very low casualties compared to the next step, which is going to be the employment of ground combat power, either in an attempt to open the straits or recover uranium underground in Isfahan, who knows? So I think you're quite correct. We had a military campaign that was extremely successful, but it didn't achieve any of the purposes that Trump had announced from the start, where he said, I want unconditional surrender. I want to help choose the leadership of the Iranian people. He's been left with the IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard, in control of Iran, even more hardline than they were before the war.
General, that's what I'm confused about. In the very beginning, he wanted regime change. He talked about trying to help the people of Iran. And we know, like you talked about before, we know about the 30,000 that were killed during that uprising. So we know that tragic things happened to the people of Iran by their own leaders over there. But my confusion is 1 minute they're talking about helping the people of Iran, and sir, the next minute they're talking about wiping out the entire civilization. I'm confused, because if you wanted to help them 1 minute, how are you trying to talk about, because if you wipe out an entire civilization, that's women, kids, infrastructure, everything.
Well, I don't think you're confused. I think you've gone right to the heart of the matter. And again, I would underscore that people are debating the legalities, and they're talking about the potential negotiations, and is somebody going to pay tolls going through the straits? Those are all important questions. But if you back far enough away from it, when you look at what the President of the United States said on Easter Day in a sort of expletive-filled torrent of words to the global community, and then again the notion of wiping out a civilization, which of course can't be done in any way with conventional military power. It didn't wipe out Germany and Japan during World War II. That would have to be with nuclear weapons. So I think what we're looking at is a president who, if he was a lieutenant colonel in the Pentagon and put out these kind of messages, his boss would have sent him over to Walter Reed for evaluation. And we got 2 more years of this kind of incoherent, dangerous behavior.
You listen to the voice of retired 4-star General Barry McCaffrey here on the Gee and Ursula Show. In being around the military, I've always have said that the best leadership in the world comes from the military. And in doing so, I know that the military, they're bound by to protect the Constitution. That's very important. However, I'm quite sure that there's a fine line between that and maybe following the orders of the commander-in-chief. In your experience, and maybe in your conversations that aren't public, that you've spoken with leaders, how are they able to dance, if you will, with that balance of doing what they're supposed to do because of the chain of command, protecting the Constitution and everything, and also making sure that, they don't do some of the things that they're being asked to do? How do they dance with that, sir?
Well, it's a difficult challenge. Look, there's only a lot of Americans don't understand that the only 2 people are allowed to give legal orders to the U.S. Armed Forces. Over 2 million men and women, active Guard Reserve, and that's the President of the United States under his power as Commander-in-Chief and the Secretary of Defense. So when we look at these 4-star general service, uniformed service chiefs, the chairman of the JCS, they have no command authority. What they do have is credibility. And as you mentioned, look, the armed forces are essentially a giant training machine. I used to tell people I'm sort of a run-of-the-mill 4-star. I had 6 years of postgraduate education. So Secretary Hegseth and the President of the United States have fired more than 20 senior uniformed military leaders. That experience and training went right out the door. What they're trying to do essentially is politicize the uniformed military services. That's a threat to the American people. We swear an oath to the Constitution, not to a person. And I think we're in some jeopardy right now in dealing with that.
General, if you were to, how can I say this? If you were to ask maybe, let's just say 10 people, 10 Americans right now, what does success look like in this conflict? Do you think that we'd get 10 different answers? Because I'm trying to figure out what is success in this whole conflict.
Well, you're entirely right. Again, you have to write down on a piece of paper the political objective you're trying to achieve by using military power. By the way, military power ought to be always the last choice because you're not quite sure how it's going to work out. Even if you look down on your enemy's capabilities, as I think we did successfully with the Iranians. So, we're in a period where we've had this tremendously successful military campaign, 13,000 targets hit. It's had, I think, a huge impact on Iran's conventional military capability. It's had an impact on their nuclear development program. But at the end of the day, it didn't open the Straits of Hormuz. It didn't get a regime change. It didn't get an uprising of the Iranian people. And it alienated the bejeebers out of all of our global allies. It'll take us 10 years to recover trust in the international community based on what's been happening in the last year.
Okay, real quick. You said it'll take us 10 years potentially to regain trust. Can you go deeper into that and why it would take that long, sir?
Well, look, NATO is a U.S. Senate-confirmed treaty. It's a law of the land. And President Trump has essentially unraveled any trust in the NATO community and the European Union for us being a obligatory partner in the deterrence of threats from Russia. I think when the South Korean leadership, Japanese leadership, Australian leadership looked at his behavior in the last year, they wonder what will he do dealing with potential Chinese aggression in the South China Sea and Taiwan, et cetera. So this is an unsettling. There is no CEO of a company with 70 employees that acts in as unlogical and rabid manner as the President of the United States. He has immense power, and he's using it, and he's unchecked by Congress. Fortunately, the media hasn't given up, nor has the judicial system. But I think the country's in a very shaky position for the next 2 years.
4-star General retired Barry McCaffrey, we're grateful for your time. We really appreciate it, sir.
Good to be with you.
I'm going to ask that question to all of you all listening right now. 888-973-5476. I'm going to ask that. I'm just going to be real simple. And Sophia, I need you to collect these answers. If I ask you, what does success look like in this conflict? Just one thing. What would it be? Later on in the show, we'll bring those back up and we'll talk about it. Coming up next here on the Gee and Ursula Show. Yesterday, we talked about the Gen Z stare. I think that it kept Sophia up so late at night that on the show sheet, there is a huge response. Actually, there's something that I think I might agree with. Have you ever heard of cost disease? Oh, we'll explain that next. Gee and Ursula.
Congratulations to KIRO Newsradio's Charlie Harger and digital content producer Patrick Janasek, nominated for a Northwest Emmy Award for investigative reporting.
It began with a question from the community. It seemed almost too stunning to be true.
KIRO Newsradio is honored to be the only radio station nominated for the prestigious Emmy Award as part of our commitment to impactful storytelling across every platform, reaching into the communities we serve. On KIRO Newsradio, 97.3 FM.
Hi, Sarah here with Safeway. We're proud to partner with Champions of Change co-founder Doug Baldwin to help nourish Washington students through the Nourishing Champions program.
Thanks, Sarah. And here's the reality. Every day, students across our state are staying after school for extracurriculars on empty stomachs, and some of them don't know where their next meal will come from. Food insecurity is reaching crisis levels, and the impact on our youth will extend far beyond this moment. The good news is that there's an answer in the federally funded after-school meals programs. But right now, Washington schools' participation is very low, reaching only 2% of the students who qualify.
That's where Nourishing Champions comes in. We're offering grants that not only fund food, but also resource and training support for the schools to offer an after-school meal program for years to come.
Our goal is to reach 10,000 more students in the first year of these grants and then grow from there. School staff can learn more and apply today at championsofchangefoundation.org and navigating to the Nourishing Champions tab. That's championsofchangefoundation.org and click on the Nourishing Champions tab.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You could file your taxes on a basic free service, which is fine. But are you okay with fine? Because when it's your money on the line, do you really want to guess if you missed a credit or hope the math is right? Get the confidence of TurboTax for free right on the Intuit Credit Karma app. Free Fed and free state for simple 1040s only. Around 37% of filers qualify. See details at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for EITC, CTC, student loan interest, and Schedule 1A.
Well, there's nothing I hate worse than being cold. And if your house is feeling a bit drafty or the floors of the main level are way too cold on your feet, that's probably because your crawl space and attic don't have enough insulation. It's probably making your furnace work overtime. So now you're spending more money as well. Well, how about a free and easy way to learn if you need better insulation? Just schedule a free corner-to-corner inspection of your crawl space and attic with Crawl Pros. It's exactly what I did. They'll show up to your house. They'll go where you don't want to, certainly where I didn't want to, and they'll tell you if you got any problems with your crawl space, your attic, and especially your insulation. If they do discover your home is under or improperly insulated, they'll show you all the utility rebates as well to help you get that work done correctly and affordably. If you're a PSE customer and your home was built before 1990, you could receive a rebate to cover up to 95% of the cost. Make your home more comfortable. Save on your energy bill with Crawl Pros. If you're worried that anything's going on in your crawl space or attic, critters, mold, water, plumbing issues, call Crawl Pros or go to crawlpros.com.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
Experience the thrill of seeing orcas and humpback whales with Puget Sound Express. Join their family-run tours for guaranteed whale sightings departing daily from Edmonds. These are Seattle's most popular and well-reviewed whale tours. Book now at PugetSoundExpress.com.
Whether you've done a few things already or you're just beginning to plan for your retirement, it's never too late to make sure you have everything covered. Elder law attorney Rajiv Nagayach joins me. And you have an opportunity coming up that will really help answer some important questions, don't you?
We do. And every month we take 3 or 4 opportunities to go to the communities and educate people about what proper retirement planning is. The notion of retirement planning around having a hodgepodge plan, working with a financial planner, a lawyer, a CPA, a doctor, those pieces by themselves are not going to give you the results you want in retirement.
Among other things, you and the LifePoint Law team want to teach us about the Safe Harbor Trust.
The single biggest financial threat in retirement is an uncovered medical illness. A Safe Harbor Trust should be a must in most of these estates but is not.
Be a part of the next seminars in Olympia on April 9th or Federal Way on April 11th. Attendance is free, and the information will save you thousands. Sign up now at lifepointlaw.com. lifepointlaw.com.
I'm Carolyn Osorio, the host of the Shadow Girls podcast, a deep dive into the Green River Killer investigation, and the only known survivor.
He got both hands on my neck. I couldn't do nothing.
Rebecca did do something. It was her tip that proved pivotal in the arrest and conviction of Gary Ridgway. Join us on April 9th for a true crime event, the behind-the-scenes story of how an imperfect witness finally got her reward. Tickets available right now at nwcave.org.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Jillian Raftery. A 2-week ceasefire with Iran is already under threat.
I'm Vicki Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. Reports out of Iran say Tehran will withdraw from the ceasefire deal if Israel continues its attacks in Lebanon. Attacks the semi-official Tasnim news agency calls a violation of the agreement. But Israel has said Lebanon isn't part of the deal, and its strikes against the Iranian-backed Hezbollah militia there have intensified in recent hours. And President Trump, too, has insisted Lebanon is not included in that 2-week ceasefire deal.
Al Jazeera is reporting that 89 people have died in just that wave of attacks, with hundreds more injured. Meanwhile, CBS's Elizabeth Palmer has reaction from inside Iran.
State television put it this way. The announcer read, "The enemy, that is the U.S. and Israel, has suffered an undeniable, historic, and crushing defeat."
4 of the 6 largest U.S. airlines have now raised prices for checked bags. CBS transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve has more.
So why is this happening now? The price of jet fuel has roughly doubled due to the war in the Middle East. That's already prompted flight cuts and pushed up airfares. Here's United CEO Scott Kirby just last month.
Airfares are up probably 15 to 20% in the last month. Oil price doesn't fully cover the price of oil.
Airlines say the bag fee hikes will help offset the fuel costs.
Average gas prices in Washington held steady overnight at a whopping $5.39. Diesel continues to rise with a new record average set today in Washington at $6.89. A storm-damaged road in North Bend has reopened after 4 months. Southeast Edgewick Road is the main route connecting communities in the hills south of I-90, not far from Twin Falls. It was damaged in a landslide last December. Crews have been working to stabilize it, but it was damaged with more slides and rain. King County estimates December storms caused more than $11 million in damage to county-owned roads and bridges. And crews are making progress on I-5 northbound near Bellingham, which has been shut down for the last 3 weeks because of landslide. They're stabilizing the slope during the day and hauling away chunks of rock and debris by night. Still, detours in place and no ETA for reopening. Now we're going to traffic, KIRO News Radio real-time traffic, and the biggest issue remains the First Avenue South Bridge getting into Seattle. That is closed because of an unknown maintenance issue. There is a detour at Holden, but there's a big backup on 509 leading up to it. Also getting into Seattle, or getting into Bellevue, rather, 405 southbound at Northeast 85th. There's a collision blocking the right lane. Right now, Renton to Bellevue is 38 minutes. Federal Way to Seattle, 40 minutes. Linwood to Seattle from the northbound direction, 25 minutes. Linwood to Bellevue, 49 minutes. This report brought to you by KIRO News Radio. We are going to stay clear and sunny with a high of 61 degrees. Overnight lows still chilly in the 40s, but all week, gorgeous. Sunshine until Saturday is our first chance of rain with highs in the high 50s. It's 41 degrees right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
So there is a divorce boom going on right now. No, a little bit more than usual. And coming up in about 12 minutes. Wait till you find out what this is all about. And maybe you have a story that can connect with this, because I'm quite sure you might. So we'll do that in about 12 minutes. But right now, this here, think about your day-to-day, if you will. Here's a question for you. How much time do you spend alone? Well, according to Alex Mayasi, author of Planet Money, a guide to economic forces that shape your life. Being alone is not just about your personal life, it's about your pocketbook. Right now, our world is focused on solitude-induced entertainment. Why? It's cheaper. The consumer to be alone, it's more profitable for big companies for us to be alone too. So in turn, the things in our human-only economy, check this out. Restaurants, concerts, bookstores, they're becoming less social. Kiosk ordering, maybe dealing with Ticketmaster chatbots. It's not something you want to hang out and do or spend your money on. Alex calls it cost disease. But is there anything that we can do to change it, or are we stuck with this feeling alone? You know, there's like this idea floating around that I think that is hitting really closer to home than people realize. The thing is that we are living in a world where technology continues to get cheaper, right? And an example, I just go right, let's like TVs. What's the most money that you've ever paid for a flat screen? Who remembers the first plasmas? I think I got my first plasma TV in like 2002. Do you know how heavy that thing was? Heavy. Now, I don't want to talk about the cost because the cost was outrageous. But I do remember in 2006 when I was able to get a flat screen for $4,000. I thought that was a great deal. Today, some of those same TVs, they're flatter now. They're lighter. So my point to all of that is technology continues to get cheaper. And because of that, we talked about the stare yesterday about what are we focusing on? How much time do we spend on social media? Do you spend more or less? Here's another one for you. When is the last time that you passed up an opportunity to go hang out with friends because it was just a little too expensive? Money was tight at the time. Like, I can't remember the last time someone has said to me, hey, G, hey, I ain't got it. It's rough on me right now. Usually, you look at your finances, you're like, I could go, but is that a good idea to go? But one of the main reasons why people, you know, we talk a lot about nobody wants to get outside. Nobody wants to go out and hang out because it's expensive to go hang out with your friends, to go to a game, to go to a concert, to go grab dinner, to go grab some drinks. And so staying at home, scrolling on social media, that entertainment is free. And so hence the reason why we tend to do that. A lot of us are getting priced out of doing the things that used to be so enjoyable 15, 20 years ago. So I want to ask that of you. Now, I got my young Gen Z with me today. I'm going to start off with you, Sophia, on this conversation. Cost disease. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely real. Like, hearing you even say that, like, when was the last time that you're thinking about passing up an opportunity? I told you earlier this week that I went to the movies on the weekend.
Yeah.
But it took some convincing because I'm really grateful that I live with my friends, so that keeps things a little bit cheaper, right? Because you can hang out at home. But even then, you start to get tired of it. On Saturday, she was like, do you want to go to this movie? And I was like, I don't know, like, $16 just to go to a movie on a Saturday night. Like, do I really want to do that? She was like, come on, like, we can do it. We can splurge. But I really had this voice in my head that was like, I don't want to spend $16 just to go watch a movie when I could do that in my house, you know? And so you're constantly playing this game of like, what is worth the price of not feeling alone or feeling bored in your house?
Yeah. Nick, what's up, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I think she makes a good point where it's like you have to kind of, a lot of these times, things are so expensive, you have to think about where you want to allocate your money and where you want to say, you know what, this isn't worth it and kind of thing. especially like just, going out for drinks or dinner like that. Like things are just getting more and more expensive to the point where you have to say how many times is too many times and how much is not enough, where you want to go out at least once or twice maybe with your friends, but at the same time, you can't just keep doing it again and again because, it just adds up after a while.
But also at the same time, with the way that the world is working, there's a point in our voices in our head, especially for my generation, that's very YOLO. Like,
Right.
well, what am I saving this money for? Like,
Right.
I should try to enjoy my life a little.
My granddaughter, Izzy, she is 6 years old, and it is just, maybe it's fascinating. And every time I talk to her and I speak to her, I just think about like when I was a kid, and now I'm starting to understand like when I would talk back then, what my grandparents were actually thinking when I would talk. But I find myself, when I'm talking to Izzy, I do my best to try to relate to how she's thinking because I think it's such a fresh perspective that's so new and just so real. Well, one of the things, and maybe you all have kids or grandkids and they like doing this, is one of the things that she loves to do, she gets on YouTube and she watches these folks open up toys, like toys unboxing. It happens. And so I asked her, I said, why do you like doing that? And to which she says, oh, Grandpa, it's so fun. And she explains what they got and all these huge toys and things. And I just I couldn't understand it until I did. And you want to know what made me understand it? We adults do it all day, every day. Mm-hmm. This is what we do on social media. We might not be able to afford to go to that restaurant, but we saw Jane. She was at that real nice restaurant that we've been wanting to go to.
And that's something that this creator, that we didn't get a chance to play the audio, was pointing out, was that the Gen Z stare is mostly based on the fact that we're not having these face-to-face conversations. We're watching videos of people doing things. Instead of doing it with them in person, we are watching them do the thing, which is making us feel so blank about actually hanging out with people in real life.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you what's popular, y'all. And it's the summertime. It's coming up. By the way, we're going to have some beautiful weather today. I think up until Friday, we'll have some beautiful weather. Hey, them get-togethers, y'all. They'll get you through it. Those get-togethers, potlucks, bring a dish, everybody. You have some fun. It's curated to your group of people and loved ones. Get more in doing that. Okay, coming up next, there's a divorce boom. And wait till you find out the reason. And I would love for you to be honest and let me know if you know of a situation where this very thing that's causing this divorce boom has happened. We'll do all that next. Gee Ursula.
Local news from local voices you trust.
Flights out of Joint Base Lewis McChord.
KIRO Newsradio.
Questions about whether the Pentagon is deploying special forces to the Middle East.
The news you depend on.
Gas prices up 25 cents in the last week.
Conversation.
Then all of a sudden, Trump comes out, hey, we're having productive talks.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
Touchdown, Seahawks!
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM. Streaming everywhere on the KIRO Newsradio app.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with a Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
You could file your taxes on a basic free service, which is fine. But are you okay with fine? Because when it's your money on the line, do you really want to guess if you missed a credit or hope the math is right? Get the confidence of TurboTax for free right on the Intuit Credit Karma app. Free Fed and free state for simple 1040s only. Around 37% of filers qualify. See details at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for EITC, CTC, student loan interest, and Schedule 1A.
Make this spring even sweeter with healthy saltwater soaks in a hot spring spa. During Olympic Sweet Spring Savings Event, save up to $3,000 on the hot tub of your dreams. Ends April 14th. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
For over 50 years, Bucky's Complete Auto Repair has been the one locals trust for fast, friendly service with guaranteed repairs. With 16 family-owned locations and a Carfax preferred badge, Bucky's makes it easy with same-day service and available financing. Visit Bucky's.com.
Owie, wowie!
What's with the
water heater's worn out?
Way less hot water?
Takes a lot longer, too.
Sounds like a goner.
Worst of all,
what?
Wasn't planning on it.
We can help.
Apollo Plumbing.
Ready right now to get you
in hot water.
Same day.
Not this day. My budget.
How about with easy payments?
How much easy?
Around $50 a month with approved credit.
A new water heater?
50 gallons of 100% hot water delight.
For about $50 a month.
51, 52 to be precise.
And you can do it
today if that's what you need.
Is it ever?
Apollo installs new ones with code upgrades.
Can't beat that.
Actually, I can.
What?
Your same-day water heater replacement includes Wrenchie's worry-free warranty.
Which means?
Apollo Plumbing covers your new water heater for life.
You mean should it ever wear out?
Apollo Plumbing replaces it free.
And if it needs service?
Service is included for our A-list members.
Wow!
Your new water heater is ready
right now
at ApolloPlumbing.com.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rurecka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with zero investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
How was your break?
It was great until I stopped for gas. Prices have gone up almost $1 with no end in sight. I might have to start watching how much I drive.
That's exactly why I use Upside. I never pay full price for gas with the free Upside app.
Upside?
Yes, Upside. It's the free app that gives you cash back just for buying the gas you're already buying. So even with the rising gas prices, I'll never have to limit how much I drive.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Just last year, I made over $200 with the Upside app.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app right now.
Download the free Upside app to earn cash back on the gas you're already buying. Use promo code THRIVE25 for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code THRIVE25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill-up. That's THRIVE25.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It is the Gee and Ursula Show. Grateful that you're hanging out with us today. Coming up in the 10 o'clock hour, 4 Washington sheriffs want to sue Governor Bob Ferguson over a new oversight for the top cops, if you will. So we'll weigh in on that discussion. We'll do that at 10 o'clock. But right now, we do need to talk. And we need to talk about Ozempic. Ozempic right now is, slimming down the waist, and maybe you know someone on it or anything like that. But right now, they're saying that it's one of the reasons why that there's a divorce boom. A provocative new piece in The Spectator says the boom in weight loss drugs like Ozempic could be fueling all of this. Research cited in the article suggests couples can drift apart as confidence rises and lifestyles shift. For those who had gastric band surgery, for example, 50% of patients were more likely to get divorced within 6 years. But experts caution it's not the drugs breaking up relationships. It's what comes after. And one researcher puts it, major weight loss can reshape identity. And sometimes that means reshaping who you're with. So, what do you think does a new body mean in this time for a new life? You know, it's Ozempic or a rapid weight loss. I think it does move into a new identity for people. And let me just be all the way real as we're talking about this discussion. And maybe you're someone or you know someone that has lost a bunch of weight. And one of the things that I have learned over time is I just don't even comment other than, hey, you look great, or that outfit looks great, or I like that hat. I'm very specific. I don't want to say, oh my goodness, you look like you've lost a bunch of weight. You look great, because you don't know why that person lost weight. So you're setting yourself up for a trap. But we live in America. We live in a society where looks, even though they shouldn't matter, unfortunately, they do more than they should. And what happens is that confidence starts to get boosted a little bit when you get the comments start to come. You know, maybe you were someone and you lost 40 to 50 pounds, and like, I believe that promotions can happen. Yes, I do believe that. I believe in corporate America, people can sometimes move up the corporate ladder sometimes because of how they look. That's just, I'm not saying all the time. I'm not saying that it should happen. I'm just saying if you really pull away the curtains a little bit, it happens. What do they call that? Pretty privilege? Yes, I do think that that's the thing. So the divorce that happens, just boom, yes, I do believe it. I don't necessarily believe it's the drug. I think that the marriage itself was hanging on to something. And what happens is that transformation, that new identity points a spotlight on feelings. It points a spotlight on a relationship that might not have been that great and that solid in the first place. New attention does things not just for kids, but for adults too. But I want to go back to that confidence. And I think that the number one thing that you can have, and however you gain it, so whether it is you gain it by just working out or going for walks, you gain it by an amazing new friendship that you have, you gain it by a great family structure, you gain it by Ozempic, whatever the case might be. I think it is so important for any and everyone to gain confidence. Now, careful though, because sometimes I call it fool's gold sometimes. You start to, if you're gaining and leaning on that compliment to help you boost that confidence, well, I mean, then what happens is there's a thirst to continue to want more and more. It's like money, right? Right now, if I ask you, are you making exactly enough money? Could you use more? 99.9% of people would say, oh, I can always use more money. Like, there's never enough money. Just like sometimes there's never enough compliments. So if you're searching for those compliments, and if you're losing weight in search for those compliments, then yes, that can drive you on a course for steering away from your relationship. Sophia, you saw this whole thing. Did you doubt this story?
No, I mean, I didn't. I mean, it's interesting too, because with the rise of GLP-1s, Ozempic, and this focus on weight losses, my hot take is that one of the biggest recession indicators is people paying more attention to their body image. And I think we've seen this cultural shift of people wanting to control things they can. And one of the things you can maybe put all your attention in is controlling the way you look. And there is now more of a shift and a trend for people to care about that in a different way. And this is kind of a hot take, but as the woman representative today, I can say that like it seems like body image and body positivity is kind of going away in the way that it was for a while.
Yes.
Now people are really, with things like Ozempic, skinny is chic again, which is crazy. But that's what's happening in the world right now.
I'll be vulnerable with you guys for a second. And this is the truth. I would say, for me, one of the reasons why I really started to get on this health and workout journey, and this is the truth, was being on video every day. I mean, at first, you ever sometimes have a picture, they took a picture from you, like, hey, do that from the top, it's crazy how the camera adds 10 pounds to you. Like, I could only say that for a couple weeks. After that, like, it is what it is, right? So every time I see the videos, and Sophia and all those guys, Patrick and Trevor, they cut these videos up downstairs, and I see myself. I mean, imagine that, seeing yourself on social media every single day. And I thought, look, I got a face for radio. Now this new video stuff, I'm on the screen all the time. So that kind of motivated me and got it started. But the byproduct of me doing that was as I started to feel better. So I would love to hear from you. Maybe you have a story of someone that you know that has done this and really it had a bad impact on their relationship. So, hey, we got more to discuss. Luke Ducey, KIRO News reporter, he's going to join us coming up at 10 o'clock. He's going to be talking about the 10-point plan and deal when it comes to the 2-week ceasefire for Iran. We'll do all that next. Gee Ursula.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of its National Red Tag Sales Event this Friday, April 10th through Sunday, May 3rd. Stop by any of its participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales Event starting this Friday. Discover the D.R. Horton difference. Visit drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
DQ presents the Blizzard Double Flip Deal. For a limited time, when you buy one Blizzard treat, you get a second for just 99 cents. That's 2 Blizzards, 2 spoons, 2 flavors, and 2 flips. So don't miss out on the Blizzard Double Flip Deal, available only for a limited time and happening now at DQ. Because the only thing better than a Blizzard treat is a second Blizzard treat for just 99 cents. It's a deal to flip for. The Blizzard Double Flip Deal. Get it in the app. Participation may vary.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need to get the job done. With fast delivery you can depend on and access to technical product experts ready to help you meet any challenge. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
Well, there's nothing I hate worse than being cold, and if your house is feeling a bit drafty or the floors of the main level are way too cold on your feet, that's probably because your crawl space and attic don't have enough insulation. It's probably making your furnace work overtime, so now you're spending more money as well. Well, how about a free and easy way to learn if you need better insulation? Just schedule a free corner-to-corner inspection of your crawl space and attic with Crawl Pros. It's exactly what I did. They'll show up to your house. They'll go where you don't want to, certainly where I didn't want to, and they'll tell you if you got any problems with your crawl space, your attic, and especially your insulation. If they do discover your home is under or improperly insulated, they'll show you all the utility rebates as well to help you get that work done correctly and affordably. If you're a PSE customer and your home was built before 1990, you could receive a rebate to cover up to 95% of the cost. Make your home more comfortable. Save on your energy bill with Crawl Pros. If you're worried that anything's going on in your crawl space or attic, critters, mold, water, plumbing issues, call Crawl Pros or go to crawlpros.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PROMO25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PROMO25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PROMO25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
John Curley here. This baseball season, step up to the plate and get the price of a new heating and cooling system in just 60 seconds on your phone with no pressure. Don't wait. Call the comfort people. HomeComfortAlliance.com. That's HomeComfortAlliance.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News. This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Cammie McCormick. A Long Island, New York architect has admitted to a string of killings.
Rex Heuermann admitted to killing 8 women between 1993 and 2011, including one murder he hadn't been charged with. Suffolk County DA Ray Tierney.
We may learn much more about the details of what he did beyond the strangulation and other circumstances when the sentencing occurs.
That's scheduled for June 17th. Heuermann's ex-wife, Asa Ellerup, has said she had no knowledge of the killings.
My thoughts and prayers are with the victims and their families.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The Iran ceasefire is holding and direct talks could be next. Correspondent Nancy Cordes.
The ceasefire is supposed to last for 2 weeks, which is not a lot of time for long-term negotiations to really bear fruit. And there is a lot to negotiate about. Iran's nuclear program, its missile program, its support of terrorist groups throughout the region, the control of the Strait of Hormuz.
Iran state media says the strait has been closed due to Israel's attacks on Lebanon, which is not part of the ceasefire. Elizabeth Palmer has more.
Israel chose this morning to launch the biggest attack since the beginning of the war on Iran's proxies in Lebanon, Hezbollah. And it has been large and bloody, and it's getting a lot of attention in Iran. In fact, we're starting to hear mutterings from the parliament and so on in Iran saying this is a breach of the ceasefire. And it may be appropriate for Iran to start planning counterattack.
Former Attorney General Pam Bondi won't be testifying before the House Oversight Committee on the 14th. Jim Krasula has that.
Democrat Representative Robert Garcia said now that Pam Bondi has been fired, she's trying to get out of her legal obligation to testify before the Oversight Committee about the Epstein files and the White House cover-up. Garcia also said, again quoting, if she defies the subpoena, we will begin contempt charges in the Congress.
Space consultant Bill Harwood is tracking the Artemis 2, which is making its way back to Earth.
They have a few more technical demonstrations they're going to do. They're going to do some manually piloting. Later tonight, they're continuing to characterize how the Orion capsule responds to manual inputs. Most flights in the future, it'll be fully automatic, but they want to have the ability for astronauts to take control and maneuver the ship as needed, for example, during dockings in lunar orbit when they're going to hook up with moonlanders.
On Wall Street today, stocks are higher. The Dow Jones Industrial's up more than 1,200 points. This is CBS News.
Every Sunday, moderator Margaret Brennan goes face-to-face with top leaders to make you better informed. Face the Nation, Sunday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
We're going to go straight to traffic because we have some good news for you. The First Avenue South Bridge has now reopened south of Seattle. It was stuck in the open position starting at about 5 a.m. and crews couldn't figure out what exactly happened. We still have not received public information about what the issue was, but about an hour ago we saw the northbound span start to go up and down, and then they announced that traffic had reopened in both directions. So that is a good news for getting into Seattle, and it looks like a backup has really diminished on 509 leading up to that. So that's going to help the West Seattle Bridge and the I-5 commute a whole lot. I-5 is feeling a lot more pressure than you would see on a spring break
a spring break Thursday. We have backups pretty thick starting from about Boeing Field. And the merge from West Seattle is about as about as bad as I've ever seen it. The backup goes all the way across to land, almost all the way past Southwest Avalon Way. So you're going to have to give yourself plenty of extra time if you're getting onto I-5 north or south from West Seattle. 405's looking a lot better. We have a new issue to worry about, a collision on 405 just north of 167 that's creating a pretty thick backup back to 167. And of course, there are delays with that merge there, but only, about 5 minutes. The lake bridges are clear, and getting south from Linwood, either direction, is not a bad drive. It's getting closer and closer to speed limit. This report brought to you by the Emerald Queen Casino. Jim Jeffries, the Australian stand-up powerhouse, comes to the Emerald Queen Casino June 18th, only at the Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Jillian Raftery. 2 scenes, 3 murders, and 1 deadly night in Kent. Police say 2 people were shot to death in a backyard near Kent Ridge High School not long after 10 o'clock last night. And just before midnight, a man was found with what looked like stab wounds laying bleeding on a sidewalk near a bar on West Meeker Street. No arrests yet. These are not believed to have been related, and there's no public suspect information. Seattle city leaders are celebrating a landmark deal to protect a crucial source of hydropower for the next 50 years. KIRO News Radio's John Repp looks at a $4 billion agreement and what it means for your energy bill.
The deal focuses on 3 dams in a remote part of the Skagit River dating back to 1924. Together, they supply 20% of Seattle's electricity. But City Council member Dan Strauss acknowledges that the dams devastated ancestral lands and vital salmon runs.
You touched on a lot of the last 100 years that could have gone better.
As a result of the agreement, power rates would rise by 0.5% every year, but the agreement also includes nearly $1 billion for salmon run and habitat restoration. John Repp, KIRO News Radio.
State Attorney General Nick Brown is pushing back on a proposed natural gas rate hike. The AG's office urging regulators to reject Northwest Natural's plan to raise rates for about 90,000 customers in Southwest Washington. That proposal would increase bills nearly 20% starting in 2026, with additional hikes in the following years. The state argues the increases are not fair to consumers, pointing to company profits and shareholder payouts. The Utilities and Transportation Commission will hold a public hearing on April 30th. Weather today: beautiful, sunny, 61 degrees, overnight lows in the 40s, 41 degrees right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It is the Gee and Ursula Show. Grateful that you all hang out with us. Happy Wednesday. I think Melinda in Bellevue had to remind me that today was Wednesday. Ursula's going to be out today. Don't worry. Ursula will be back tomorrow. Nick is here. Sophia is here. So I'm not alone. There's no way in the world I could do this show by myself. It just won't happen. So let's get to it right now.
What's new at 10?
We are joined by KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey to chat more about what's going on with the Iran update. Luke?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Let's talk about the ceasefire. I think that is the news and the topic of the day that everyone's talking about. That announcement of that ceasefire coming about 90 minutes before the Trump administration's deadline yesterday. We all remember that. The deadline was 5 p.m. Pacific time. If Iran did not open the Strait of Hormuz to allow oil shipments to get through, Trump would end Iran's whole civilization. That was some of the rhetoric that he was putting on social media. This is a 2-week ceasefire. The nuts and bolts of this. The U.S. and Israel have agreed to stop attacking targets for now in Iran, while Iran has agreed to open up the Strait of Hormuz and let that oil supply flow. We're talking about 20% of the world's energy supply in that oil, and that's why the gas prices are part of the reason why gas prices are going up, but especially around the world. The ceasefire being mediated by several countries, Pakistan, Egypt, Turkey, and also China. Why China? Because China is the largest exporter of Iranian oil. Some 80% of Iranian crude oil goes to China, and we've heard reports out of Asia that oil refineries in China have been shutting down because they have not had oil to refine. But I think what you really kind of want to talk about, I think you had questions about, as we were talking earlier, where do we go now? What's the strategy, and what is the immediate wants and needs of all these sides, the U.S. and Iran?
Sure.
I mean, let's talk about the Trump administration first. And we're just talking about their objectives in the immediate, in this ceasefire. We're at this point now, so that's what kind of matters. And then we can broaden that out if you want the strategic goals. Yeah. The Trump administration is desperate to open the Strait of Hormuz, as we talk, because they want to get that oil moving again. We don't get a lot of oil in the U.S. from Iran and some of those areas. But, it's obviously causing huge political damage as gas prices rise. 20%, again, of the world's energy supply. The U.S. also wants to stop Iran's ballistic missile threat. There are some weapons experts who believe that ballistic missiles from Iran could reach some capital cities in Europe should this escalate. They also want to stop drone threats on U.S. installations and military personnel, especially on Israel as well and neighboring countries, U.S. forces in the region at different bases. And they'll most likely want Iran to also stop its nuclear weapons development program. Iran wants to stop the bombing period. I mean, they have been hit some 11,000 targets across the country. There's widespread damage, including a fractured leadership there as well. So that's what they want in the immediate. But as far as strategy, Gee, ask anyone and ask 12 different analysts. You're probably going to get 12 different iterations of what's the strategy now.
Oh, it's funny you said that, because after you're done here, we asked that question of what does a victory look like in this conflict, and we got a whole bunch of answers, and they're all so different. Here's a question for you. I would just answer some questions for me. So right now, the Strait of Hormuz, with this 2-week agreement, ceasefire, it's going to be open.
Should be.
So before this all happened, was it closed or was it open?
It was open February, before the conflict.
Okay, so it was open.
Began.
Okay. Here's my next question. I'm just trying to learn more about this. Sure. My next question is as of right now, Iran is in control of the Strait of Hormuz.
Correct.
Before this conflict started, was Iran in charge of the Strait of Hormuz?
No.
Okay. Just want to make sure I get this straight. Right now, it says, according to the ceasefire, they will charge $2 million a ship that'll go through. Before the conflict, how much money per ship was being charged?
None.
Okay, so there's none. Okay, the next question I have for you. So have we found and figured out what the number one main objective has been in all of this? I'm still been searching and trying, and I think we are on week 5-ish, 6.
Going into this conflict, I think the case, a lot of analysts would make the case that strategically the U.S. wanted to, number one, end Iran's nuclear capabilities. We do not want that country and that regime to have a nuclear weapon. The real question about that, though, is whether it can be accomplished without boots on the ground. Where do you find the fissile material, the enriched uranium that they may have stored in certain areas around the country spread out? And it could be stored in rooms like the size of this studio. And multiple places like that. So where do you find those? Where are those? So big questions there. Has this been about regime change as well? We wanted to change the leadership. Well, you can kind of check that box because the Israeli airstrikes have taken out the main leadership, obviously, in Iran. But Iran is an institutionalized theocracy. And I'll just say this. It's difficult to beat someone and defeat someone who never gives up. What I mean by that is, the power structure in this country is spread across religious leaders, government bodies, and security forces. You've heard of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. They are deeply tied to the system. They kind of run things in that country and tell the populace, the residents, what to do and when to do it and how to do it. They've been accused of and have tortured and killed thousands and thousands of their own citizens. So they're in power right now. What is the alternative for them if they are kicked out of power? If there is a true regime change, they lose power, they lose wealth, they face prosecution, probably death. So in a theocracy, especially in the name of God, they're not going to give up. It's not like just, okay, we give up. We'll kind of try to find some kind of peaceful negotiation. That's not going to happen. They've been in power for some 50 years. I think they'd like to keep it that way.
You listen to the voice of KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey here on the Gee and Ursula Show. One of the things you mentioned, regime change. And as a matter of fact, on the text line, I've seen regime change. And there are people that want regime change so the people of Iran can be treated better, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So let's just say that was the goal. And by the way, I do believe that the people of Iran, I mean, we know that they killed like 30-something thousand last year from the uprising during that time.
In 1 or 2 days.
And it was awful when that happened. But help me understand, Luke, if they're wanting regime change, but then at the same time, the president of the United States says a whole civilization could die tonight and to never come back, isn't that the opposite? Because you want regime change to take care of the people, but you're willing to destroy all of the people.
That's why there are such huge questions about the president's rhetoric. Did he mean it? How would you carry something like that out? If he did mean it, what kind of level of escalation are we talking about if he did mean it? Even if he didn't mean it, why would you say things like that and threaten a population? You know, the one thing that Iran has, and I think a lot of analysts, I've heard them make this point, they're winning this issue is because, you know, the U.S. has hit some 11,000 targets. They have won tactically. They have destroyed the Iranian Navy. They have destroyed targets. They have destroyed huge components of their military air defense systems. Okay, they won that. They won tactically. But strategically, Iran, to your point that you just made, they still control, well, they now control the Strait of Hormuz, and they're not giving that up. You know, if you didn't know, around that point in the Strait of Hormuz, if you look at it on a map, there's only 20 miles from the coastline, you know, to where, from coastline to coastline through that small area. So very easy militarily to target oil ships. They don't have any defenses.
Yeah.
And the strategy from Iran that seems to be working right now is control energy and oil from getting out of that area, therefore driving up gas prices. And they know that domestically here in the U.S., the higher the gas prices, the more unpopular the president and the administration becomes. And they're, according to a lot of analysts, winning at that game right now strategically.
I mean, Iran right now is claiming victory on this. I mean, especially in number 4, where it says lifting all U.S. sanctions on Iran. Okay. This is probably a question that I think that, you know, people are now probably want to hear you talk about. Let's talk about the gas pump. Yesterday, I did it again. I sent it to Sophia, $6.17 for regular per gallon. I sat there and did that, and the diesel was $7.90 right there on that deal. So how soon potentially could we, the people, see relief at the pump?
Good news, bad news. I was checking stock prices in Wall Street today. The price of crude oil has gone down some 18% just on the news and of the ceasefire and the ceasefire that's going on right now. And there were early reports this morning that ships were making their way through out of that area to deliver oil. So that's the good news. But here's the bad news for folks. Gas prices go up pretty quickly, and gas stations don't know. They're reacting a lot of times to those gas prices, so they don't have control of those prices. But what they do control, gas stations, and when they go back down. So if oil starts flowing and we start seeing more production of gasoline and diesel, and we start seeing it more in our country, the gas stations themselves control those prices going down, and they usually have it trickle down 1 to 2 cents a day, trickling back down to where we saw it last. And here's why they do it: because of all the money that they may have lost on all the Twinkies and the Slurpees and all the stuff that they sell inside the store from gas prices going up, because people aren't going in to get gas and they're not going in to purchase those things. They want to recoup that money lost on those sales, so they control the price going down, so they can then skim that money off and recoup their losses from other things that they sell.
Seriously, never thought about that.
Yeah.
Before you go, you brought up stock prices, and I'm glad you brought that up, because yesterday morning when I was here, you were doing the show. By the way, you've been excellent on SNN in the morning times. You guys are doing a fantastic job. But I was looking at my portfolio. I was looking at the stock market, and when you were doing the show around 8-something in the morning, I was looking, and I was like, oh man, it's going down, right? And then when I got off work, yesterday, about around that time, about 12:30, I started to see it tick up, right? And I started to see it tick up. And so I said to myself, does this mean that they're getting ready to make a call where because you notice they gave a 5 p.m. deadline, and you notice it was Taco Tuesday yesterday. And in the 5 p.m. deadline, it was like, hey, this is what's going to happen if you don't do anything else. And then I started to see it really spike. And then the announcement came that there is a 2-week ceasefire, and then it went crazy. And then the overnight, I started to look at my portfolio for the overnight, and if you all have a portfolio right now, you've seen the stock prices doing pretty good right now. It seems, seems like weird timing that this keeps happening. I feel in my heart, and you can't respond to this.
I will.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay, because I'll feed into this a little bit. Because I was thinking the same thing, and I'm going to feed a little fuel to your fire here. It's not necessarily me saying this. I've read other accounts. So, yeah, it's interesting. So a lot of that could be futures, right? People gambling like, I think oil's going to go down and this and that. And so, therefore, but you remember the first round of airstrikes with Israel and when we tried to just bomb where we thought they were producing nuclear facilities, the first bombing. Right. You remember in the days after that, there were some missile strikes on U.S. bases in the region in the Middle East. However, U.S. personnel there were reports that they left those bases before that bombing happened, almost as if, and I had read accounts by some people saying that they were warned in advance. Iran had to you bombed us, but we got to make face. We got to bomb you, but here's what we're going to do. Did that happen this time around? So in other words, could that explain the president's strong rhetoric that there was already a deal in place and he was putting that out on social, those strong messages with knowing that a deal was in place and then 90 minutes before the attack was supposed to happen and then the administration, in an attempt for the administration to look like good guys?
Right.
I've heard reports of that.
Right.
But you're right. It seems like those prices fluctuate always before the actual moment.
Luke, I thought I was going to be done, but I'm not done. You're listening to the voice of KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey here on the Gee and Ursula Show. When I was younger, there used to always be like the word of the week. On Fridays, we would have the a spelling test every Friday. And as a matter of fact, my recess at home on the weekends was contingent on that. I used to have to get really good grades on that spelling test. And so sometimes you have a word of the week. I want to go back to the word of June 2025. And the word is obliterated. Okay. And the reason why I bring up the word obliterated, because I don't know if you guys remember this, but back then the White House declared that Iran's nuclear program was obliterated and completely destroyed. Intelligence reports and expert analysis suggested that the strike set the program back by months rather than eliminated it entirely. What happened? I thought it was obliterated.
Look, I've heard from multiple military analysts who know tactically how difficult it is to find nuclear elements that would go into making a nuclear weapon. They can be stored and hidden in anywhere and everywhere. Iran is a country, and remember these nuclear facilities they bombed back then in June were way out. They weren't near populous areas like Tehran and other large cities. They were out there in mountainous areas, bunkered into the mountains. That's why it's really difficult to get to them and blow them up. That said, Iran is 2.5 times the size, 2.5 times bigger than the state of Texas. It is a large country. There's a lot of area to cover in that country. So every military analyst I've ever heard talk about it tactically is strategically, you want to find those elements and you want to get rid of them, you want to destroy them. But how do you do that? How do you do that in a country that large where you don't have intelligence necessarily on the ground telling you, hey, it could be here, it could be there, unless you go have inspectors, right, and as part of some kind of deal. Yes. And does that even work?
Right.
Or number two, if you have military in there hunting for them themselves, and we can only imagine how awful that would be because it'd be another prolonged event and war with another country in the Middle East.
Luke Ducey, grateful for your time, brother.
Thank you very much for having me.
So much. Hey, coming up at 10:30, that's about 8-ish minutes away. I want to pay off those text messages, and maybe you didn't hear it in the 9 o'clock hour, and maybe you're here now. And here's the question. The question is simple. What does success look like in this conflict? Text us, 888-973-5476. Those texts will come in. Sophia is going to read them off, a few of the texts that come in, and we'll respond to those, because I'm just curious, because I asked this question to the General, Barry McCaffrey, because I believe that if I asked 10 people that same questions, I would most likely get 10 different answers. So the question is, what does success look like in this conflict? Let's discuss that next. Gee and Ursula.
Congratulations to KIRO News Radio's Charlie Harger and digital content producer Patrick Janasek, nominated for a Northwest Emmy Award for investigative reporting.
It began with a question from the community. It seemed almost too stunning to be true.
KIRO News Radio is honored to be the only radio station nominated for the prestigious Emmy Award as part of our commitment to impactful storytelling across every platform, reaching into the communities we serve. On KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
Hi, Sarah here with Safeway. We're proud to partner with Champions of Change co-founder Doug Baldwin to help nourish Washington students through the Nourishing Champions program.
Thanks, Sarah. And here's the reality. Every day, students across our state are staying after school for extracurriculars on empty stomachs, and some of them don't know where their next meal will come from. Food insecurity is reaching crisis levels, and the impact on our youth will extend far beyond this moment. The good news is that there's an answer in the federally funded after-school meals programs. But right now, Washington schools' participation is very low, reaching only 2% of the students who qualify.
That's where Nourishing Champions comes in. We're offering grants that not only fund food, but also resource and training support for the schools to offer an after-school meal program for years to come.
Our goal is to reach 10,000 more students in the first year of these grants and then grow from there. School staff can learn more and apply today at championsofchangefoundation.org and navigating to the Nourishing Champions tab. That's championsofchangefoundation.org and click on the Nourishing Champions tab.
Whether you've done a few things already or you're just beginning to plan for your retirement, it's never too late to make sure you have everything covered. Elder law attorney Rajiv Nagayach joins me. And you have an opportunity coming up that will really help answer some important questions, don't you?
We do. And every month we take 3 or 4 opportunities to go to the communities and educate people about what proper retirement planning is. The notion of retirement planning around having a hodgepodge plan, working with a financial planner, a lawyer, a CPA, a doctor, those pieces by themselves are not going to give you the results you want in retirement.
Among other things, you and the LifePoint Law team want to teach us about the Safe Harbor Trust.
The single biggest financial threat in retirement is an uncovered medical illness. A Safe Harbor Trust should be a must in most of these estates, but is not.
Be a part of the next seminars in Olympia on April 9th or Federal Way on April 11th. Attendance is free, and the information will save you thousands. Sign up now at lifepointlaw.com. lifepointlaw.com.
Owie, wowie.
What's with the
water heater's worn out?
Way less hot water?
Takes a lot longer, too.
Sounds like a goner.
Worst of all?
What?
Wasn't planning on it.
We can help.
Apollo Plumbing.
Ready right now to get you
in hot water.
Same day.
Not this day. My budget.
How about with easy payments?
How much easy?
Around $50 a month with approved credit.
A new water heater?
50 gallons of 100% hot water delight.
For about $50 a month.
51, 52 to be precise.
And you can do it
today if that's what you need.
Is it ever?
Apollo installs new ones with code upgrades.
Can't beat that.
Actually, I can.
What?
Your same-day water heater replacement includes Wrenchie's worry-free warranty.
Which means?
Apollo Plumbing covers your new water heater for life.
You mean should it ever wear out?
Apollo Plumbing replaces it free.
And if it needs service?
Service is included for our A-list members.
Wow!
Your new water heater is ready
right now
at ApolloPlumbing.com.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rurecka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with zero investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacyg.com.
DQ presents the Blizzard Double Flip Deal. For a limited time, when you buy one Blizzard treat, you get a second for just 99 cents. That's 2 Blizzards, 2 spoons, 2 flavors, and 2 flips. So don't miss out on the Blizzard Double Flip Deal, available only for a limited time and happening now at DQ. Because the only thing better than a Blizzard treat is a second Blizzard treat for just 99 cents. It's a deal to flip for. The Blizzard Double Flip Deal. Get it in the app. Participation may vary.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Compassion, communication, results. That's Pendergast Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Go to PendergastLaw.com. That's PendergastLaw.com.
Hartley here from Wilcox Family Farms. You've heard the saying, you are what you eat. Eggs are an incredible source of protein and omega-3s. But have you thought about what the hens eat to make healthier eggs? At Wilcox Farms, our hens enjoy organic pastures and a diet of organic grains and flaxseed, creating vibrant yolks, richer flavor, and real nutrition for your family. Next time you're at the store, choose Wilcox Eggs. Wilcox Family Farms, locally fresh since 1909.
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning. I'm Jillian Raftery. President Donald Trump meets with the head of NATO today as the Iran war strains relations between the U.S. and other member states. The president chastised the alliance for refusing to help secure the Strait of Hormuz. CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes has more.
The question is, how does that gripe manifest itself in his meeting with the NATO Secretary General today, Mark Rutte, who has been has had a really strong relationship with Trump and has proven to be quite adept at managing that relationship.
Meanwhile, a fragile ceasefire between Iran, the U.S., and Israel is in place, but it's under threat by massive Israeli strikes on Lebanon. 89 people have died in the last day, with hundreds more injured and thousands displaced. And even with that ceasefire, there's still no deal right now to get oil traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. Diesel continues to reach new records in Washington. The average is now $6.89 in our state, with a gallon of regular at $5.39. That price is relatively stable. There's a legal effort to recall Governor Bob Ferguson. Connor Edwards filed it over 2 spots that sit vacant on the Public Disclosure Commission, a campaign finance watchdog group.
In one instance, it's been over 400 days. In the other instance, it's been over 200 days past the deadline. And this is starting to have a really negative effect on how the agency operates going into the 2026 election cycle.
The governor's staff tells the Washington State Standard they've been working to fill those seats and are actively seeking candidates. The Artemis made records today as the first space flight to make a call to another orbiting space mission. They called the International Space Station, and that call set records at 15 minutes. Now we're going to check your traffic, and the big news is that the First Avenue South Bridge has reopened. There was a maintenance issue this morning that closed it in the northbound direction for several hours, but it is back open. We are having a relatively calm morning. Otherwise, we did have an issue southbound 405 at 70th in Kirkland. That appears to have cleared almost fully. There is a little bit of a backup behind it, but it's almost a speed limit drive. The volumes have reduced significantly. I-5 northbound is still a little bit of a challenge getting into Seattle. The slowing starts from at the north end of Boeing Field now, and there is still some pressure on the West Seattle Bridge, but not nearly the issues we saw an hour ago. Southbound slowing starts from about Northgate getting into Seattle on I-5, but again, nothing compared to what we usually see because this is spring break and a lot less pressure. This report brought to you by KIRO Newsradio's app. Text app to 888-973-5476 to download the KIRO Newsradio app. Listen to your favorite shows and get the latest news and updates sent straight to your phone. We are going to have a beautiful day, sunny with a high of 61. About the same tomorrow, but a little bit warmer with a high of 65. 49 degrees right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Oh, Nick, I haven't heard this. You never played this song before?
Little Here Comes the Hot Stepper?
Yeah,
it's a classic, baby.
Yeah. Hey, welcome back into the Gee and Ursula Show. We got scenarios next, but I asked a question in the 9 o'clock hour and then in the 10 o'clock hour, and I'm going to pay it off. What these texts are going to be read. And the question is simple. What does success look like in this conflict? I'm going to start off with, we've had former military, Mike Washington, here on the show before. And I usually don't read the text messages because I'm going to give that to Sophia. But Sophia, before I do, I'm going to get started. I'm going to read Mike Washington. And then I'm going to also read Tyson from the 808. Mike Washington says something that's very interesting. He says, okay, so ballistic missile and nuclear weapon development is a big deal. Okay, got it. So I guess that means that Trump will go after North Korea next. They have nukes. They have ballistic missiles that they are increasing in range. And it's a bloody totalitarian regime that has killed hundreds of thousands of its own citizens. So text in if you think that that should be the next move and you think that's the criteria. If a country is developing nuclear weapons, should Donald Trump go after them next? And Tyson from the 808 says, to your question about what's success, other than bringing our troops home safely with as little carnage as possible, it's really impossible for any of us to know what success is when the people leading the charge don't seem to know either, unless we become privy to that actual agenda, which could be oil, political control, military positioning, or doing Netanyahu's bidding. Okay, Sophia, you have some text messages. Go ahead, lay them on me.
Yeah. Kind of in the same vein, Tristan in the 360 said, success looks like our legislative branch caring more about America than they do about their own jobs. Politicians are not representatives or leaders anymore.
Wait, I just want to say something. Who was that? Who said that text?
Tristan in the 360.
Tristan, that's a very good text. Okay, next.
Yeah. On the other side of things, 425 said the point of the war with Iran was to destroy their ballistic missile program. Number 2, to destroy their nuclear ambitions. I believe we have accomplished both things.
Oh, we did? If there, I mean, please send me, whoever that sent that text, send me the link that shows that the United States has been successful in deleting or obliterating all of the nuclear program is all those things. I would love to see it because I don't think that the U.S. has troops on the ground. They don't have inspectors on the ground to prove that to be true or false. Next one.
And Alyssa in Tacoma said, unfortunately, in this conflict, like most other wars, there is no success. The people left behind are without home, food, and all the essentials. The people that started the war, I'm not sure if they'll gain any success either. War never seems to be the successful answer.
That's a very good text, and I agree with that. I think that, look, I've never fought in war, and I have, and I think we all have, the utmost respect for our military, former and current, and for our veterans, and people who have fought, and people that have died. We talk about this all the time. I look at it the same way as you would look at fighting in public or just out and about. Like, you wouldn't want to start or be into a fight, especially as we get older. We just don't do those things. Now, if there's a threat to our family, sure. and I'm not trying to relate the two because it is different, but it's almost similar to where you don't want to start something with someone because something catastrophic can happen to not just you, but to your loved ones, to your family, to your friends because of that. All right, what's the next one?
Kevin in Seattle said, I believe success in the conflict would be to open the strait and help the people rebuild their infrastructure to a point that they can meet the needs of their people. We can't just destroy it and believe they can repair the damage by themselves. At the end of World War II, we helped both Japan and Germany recover, stable, thriving contributors to the global economy.
Yeah. First of all, and by the way, I'm reading all of these different reasons and the success. I think the hardest thing about trying to come up with the best answer for what a win would look like in this conflict is we still don't have a clear objective. And I think so far to date, the hardest thing that our federal administration has had a hard time doing, this administration, is explaining to the American people exactly what the objective is. This is why I did this exercise. Not to demonize anybody's answers. First of all, thank you for the answers. And I knew that it would be different responses. And the reason why there's different responses, because none of us have a clear objective. I had a retired 4-star general on the show. I've had experts on the show to say, and still to this day, we don't have a clear objective. A few more, please.
Yeah, Peter in Port Orchid said success in the war would consist of the Iranian government becoming more like a U.S. type of democracy and agreeing to international weapons inspectors to verify they have no weapons-grade uranium. However, that would take several years to accomplish, which would go beyond Trump's remaining time in office, to which there has also been several responses from people in the text line saying that they hope for regime change in America at the end of this war.
Right. Thank you for all the text messages. Keep coming in. By the way, a lot of text messages are coming in right now. And so I'll leave you with this question as we go to break. And this one is not a very complex answer that is needed from you. It's just a yes or a no. Over the last 5 to 6 weeks, do you believe the world is safer today? Yes or no? That's it. All right. Coming up next here on the Gee and Ursula Show, it's time for scenarios. Gee and Ursula.
Congratulations to KIRO Newsradio's Charlie Harger and digital content producer Patrick Janasek, nominated for a Northwest Emmy Award for investigative reporting.
It began with a question from the community. It seemed almost too stunning to be true.
KIRO Newsradio is honored to be the only radio station nominated for the prestigious Emmy Award as part of our commitment to impactful storytelling across every platform, reaching into the communities we serve on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
Hey homeowners, are you stuck on the credit card treadmill and stressed because your consumer debt and monthly payments are too high? Well, Brock Hewitt here with a smart solution. Your home's equity in the Seattle Metro is probably larger than ever. It's like you're sitting on a stack of cash. Consider a cash-out refinance with Tila Mortgage to consolidate your high-balance credit cards, second mortgages, home equity lines of credit, and student loans, or get cash for a remodel. With interest rates finally coming down, consolidating your debt now may be the best decision you ever make. With excellent client reviews and trusted in Washington for over 25 years, Tila has competitive rates on refinance, purchase, or reverse mortgages too. Tila, spelled T-I-L-A, is a name you can trust for truthful, honest, and ethical advice for all your mortgage needs. Call Tila Mortgage today, 206-766-8888. That's 206-766-8888 or
TilaMortgage.com. Tila Mortgage LLC is a mortgage broker. NMLS 2472046.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return, but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do? My refund, though. I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Home is more than a place to live. It's where the best of life unfolds, where possibility sparks, where community grows, where lives take shape. At the Master Builders Association of King and Snohomish Counties, that belief drives the work our builders, remodelers, and tradespeople do every day. Because when we build more homes, we're building so much more than housing. We're making room for what matters most. Learn more at roomforwhatmatters.com.
The sun is shining. It's a beautiful day for baseball.
At T-Mobile Park, you've always got the best seat in the house. Case in point, your ticket might be for the view level, but it's more like Skyline City. Up here, it's hard to say what'll take your breath away first. The gorgeous Seattle sunsets or the spectacular views of every incredible play. If you like value with the view, it's the perfect place to take quality time with the family to a whole new level. Literally.
A bases clearing, 3-run double. Everybody on their feet here at T-Mobile Park.
Mariners baseball. Trident's up.
The Mariners' schedule is jam-packed with epic events. Be here for Ichiro Replica Statue Night Friday, April 10th, presented by BDA. Humpy Shoulder Plush Night Saturday, April 11th, thanks to Microsoft. And Randy Johnson Number Retirement Night Saturday, May 2nd, presented by T-Mobile. Get your tickets at mariners.com.
Running a small business means juggling a lot. Your network has to handle it all. That's where a fiber-only provider falls short. You need a partner who gives you a greater advantage. Introducing the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A first-ever combination of the largest, fastest fiber-powered network, the most reliable Wi-Fi, gig speeds with equipment and security included, and a 5-year price lock. Plus, it's all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. The Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A new standard for small business with reliability, security, and savings in one. Switch today. Get started with a great offer as low as $60 a month. When you add it all up, no one does business like Comcast Business.
Offer ends 6/1/26. New customers only. Requires 300 megabits per second internet and security edge. 1-year agreement, eco-bill, and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
Olympic Hot Tub Sweet Spring Savings Event is here. Now through April 14th, thanks to incredible factory discounts, you can save up to $16,500 on an amazing endless pool swim spa. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Thanks for calling CM Heating.
Aren't you the company that gives away free furnaces?
That's us. Buy a qualifying high-efficiency cooling system and the furnace is free.
Wow.
Yeah, and our home comfort advisors are tax credit and rebate specialists, so they'll handle the rebate for you.
Go to CM Heating for better comfort, lower bills, and a free furnace you'll love for years. Get your free estimate for furnace replacement at cmheating.com. And remember, for furnaces, fireplaces, hot water, and total home comfort, including electrical, there's no beating CM Heating.
Trying to figure out assisted living for a parent or a loved one while life keeps moving full speed? It's tough. Hey, it's Spike O'Neill. Here's what I wish someone had told me sooner. Aegis Living. These are luxury communities, resort-style amenities. Voted Best of Western Washington and ranked #1 senior living community in all of America for 2025 by Seniorly. Go to aegisliving.com/spike, schedule a visit, and get a special take-home gift. And when you take the tour, don't be surprised if you turn to whoever's with you and say, this must be the place, because it is. aegisliving.com/spike.
Okay, Nick, you showing out now.
A little gap band for you?
Yeah. All right, let's get to scenarios.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
You always need that palate cleanser, if you will. We needed this. I recently found out that my boss is having an affair with a coworker when I walked in on them in the act at the office. Now they've asked me to cover for them during their secret rendezvous. My boss recently even offered me an increase in salary. I'm sure that's a way to, if I were to keep quiet, because yes, I know his wife. We do charity work together, and she's one of the sweetest people that I know. I'm really struggling with this pay increase. I mean, I kind of need it, and like you say, we always need more money. But this money could help, but I feel conflicted. Would I be a bad person if I accept this raise, or do I have an obligation to tell his wife? What do I do? 888-973-5476 is the Muckleshoot Casino Resort text line. Sophia, you up the bat first.
So the palate cleanser is exploitation and blackmail? That's what we've decided today? Here's the palate cleanser, guys. How do we feel about blackmail?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the thing. Obviously, this is a messed up situation in general. Like, the boss should not be putting them in this situation in the first place. And honestly, like, if you have proof of you being exploited to be like, keep quiet and I'll give you a raise, that's also something that you might need to have as leverage, just kind of bring to someone. But at the same time, if it really comes down to just a raise or telling the wife, what is your moral obligation? How well do you know this? Like, you have to find your line. Like, how much do you care about this other person's relationship? Or is it like, mind your business and take the money? Because in some ways, you might just want to mind your business. And also, that information might still come to light in some capacity, but at least you got the check.
Well, let me ask this first. Do you deserve a raise? I mean, forget the affair. Forget about what's going on. The question is this: do you deserve a raise? If the answer is no, then don't take the raise.
What? Okay. Does the boss deserve to be in power if he's already exploiting his subordinates?
No, we're not getting to that. We're not getting to that. The question is simple. Do you deserve a raise? If the answer is yes, you're like, yeah. No, forget about the affair first. I just want to ask about, do you deserve a raise? If the answer is yes, then you accept your raise. Because you don't have an obligation to tell the wife. It's not on you. You saw something and you saw that, but I don't know how that's going to hold up as far as in your job, career, and everything. Is there something in writing, like Sophia said, that says, hey, if you keep this quiet, I'll give you a raise? But you didn't say that. You said that you think that your raise increase was tied to that. If you can't prove that, then you're going to get your, like, there's this whole thing called the messenger always gets shot. Now, for some of you folks out there, have you ever told a friend or a loved one, hey, your dude or your gal ain't good for you, and for some reason you end up being the bad person? I hate to say it. Listen, it's wrong. I don't like that the boss has done that. It is absolutely wrong. But me, if it were me, I'm minding my business. I'm staying out of it. No, what you talking about? I didn't see nothing.
That's fair.
I didn't see anything.
I do think the bigger issue't is the abuse of power from the boss.
It's terrible.
On all ends. Because obviously, if he's sleeping with someone in the office, and then there's this whole other issue of now he's blackmailing someone, that's messy. And as an individual to be put in that position, I don't know. All I would be doing would be collecting receipts in every way, so that if you need to pivot and support yourself in any way, you got it.
Now, if you got a text message, if you have it in writing about them saying, hey, you're getting a raise because I need you to keep this quiet, then yes, you got something.
Yeah.
But if you don't have any of that, then you out there naked.
That's true. No pun intended.
Okay, so let me go to something before I come to you, Nick. I'll be to you in a minute. Let's see here. Jeff from Renton says, look out for number one. Jeff from Linwood says, what you do is you mind your own business. That just came in.
Yeah, and C in the 714 said, take the raise, build up your resume, get a letter of recommendation from the boss, find a new job and a new pay raise or more. Don't get involved with their politics.
No, I mean, let me, here, I got a question, and you said about the politics, and I'm serious. I would love to hear from you on this. Have you ever got involved in something at work that you felt that you needed to, you obligated to respond to or react to, or, because you felt a certain type of way, and it actually hurt you more than the other party? Again, sometimes you gotta realize what your risk is. And even though these responses are coming through, one of the things that I've been talking about lately is you don't know everyone else's safety net, right? Like this person might have a safety net. What do I mean by safety net? They might have rich parents. They might have parents that they can go live with. They might have a husband or a wife that makes a lot of money, so they can kind of do what they do. But then you have the other person with the safety net that, hey, they don't have anybody. They got to pay their own bills. They're paycheck to paycheck. So they got to watch out for themselves more than other folks. All right, let's check in with my man, Nick.
Well, first of all, this sounds like a crazy workplace, and I don't know if I'd be sticking around the office if that was the case. But I'm going the path of bringing your price up and taking the better pay rate from the bosses, regardless of how it came to be. Sure, I think it's unconventional from walking in on a little affair at the workplace rather than, I don't know, merit or a promotion. But I'm not asking any questions if I'm in their shoes, and I'm taking the bread to keep my mouth shut and act like there ain't nothing going on. It's not on you to take the offer, and it's not or if it's not in the budget or valid for accounting, you just point over to those lovers' directions for how that came to be, and you keep your mouth shut and just take it. It's not on you.
I know.
I'm always so curious because this is always like the moral quandary, and I hear people talk about it all the time. They're like, if you hear about an affair, you should tell another person's spouse or whatever. And I'm really curious about how many people have told people that they're not emotionally connected to, you don't have a friendship or whatever, but you go out of your way to tell someone that their partner is cheating. I'm really curious how many people have done that. That's really a thing.
I've never done that, but I will tell you, I did it for someone that I was close to.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, I did it I literally told exactly what I was seeing in real time and everything. I'm talking about I was on the phone, cell phone. I'm telling this person exactly what happened. Guess who was the bad guy? Me. That lesson, I will live with that for the rest of my life. And I know some people are saying, well, that's not everybody. Oh, okay. It happened one time. That's it. You touch the stove once and it's hot. I know it's hot again. All right. Coming up next here on the Gee Ursula Show, we're going to be talking about what's happening with the sheriffs. 4 sheriffs are going to be trying to sue Governor Bob Ferguson. Next, Gee Ursula.
Local news from local voices you trust.
Flights out of Joint Base Lewis McChord.
KIRO Newsradio.
Questions about whether the Pentagon is deploying special forces to the Middle East.
The news you depend on.
Gas prices up 25 cents in the last week.
Conversation.
Then all of a sudden, Trump comes out, hey, we're having productive talks.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
Touchdown, Seahawks!
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM. Streaming everywhere on the KIRO Newsradio app.
Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need, delivered when and where you need them. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Meet Morgan Jones. Morgan is about to step into a world unknown to most, thanks to Progressive's Renters Insurance, a place of fresh linens and turn-down service. You see, Morgan temporarily vacated her apartment and has gone to a hotel because a pipe burst in her apartment. A pipe that made her sense of reality and apartment ceiling all come crashing down. Luckily, Morgan checked into Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers.
Taxes was waiting on the refund you needed yesterday.
All right, your car repair is going to run about $3,000.
Now Taxes is getting back on the road with TurboTax and Credit Karma, where you can get your refund up to 5 days faster and get personalized guidance to take every dollar further. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Deposit a federal refund into Credit Karma Money account and early submission of refund data by IRS required. Terms apply. Banking services provided by MVB Bank, Inc. Member FDIC. Credit Karma is not a bank.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of its National Red Tag Sales event this Friday, April 10th through Sunday, May 3rd. Stop by any of its participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales event starting this Friday. Discover the D.R. Horton difference. Visit drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Holy smokes!
The On Cruise Adventures Rick Riz Show.
What happened at the ballpark yesterday?
Sparky's sitting on my scorebook here, my cat.
Friday mornings at 8:15 on Seattle's Morning News.
Everyday students stay after school for sports, clubs, and tutoring, many on empty stomachs. Safeway and Champions of Change offer grants for after-school meal programs. Schools must apply by April 8th at championsofchangefoundation.org and click Nourishing Champions.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM, and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Israel has carried out a massive wave of airstrikes in Lebanon after the announcement of a 2-week U.S.-Iran ceasefire. CBS's Imtiaz Tayeb says Iran has responded.
Iran has responded by saying that, listen, if Israel's going to continue to target Lebanon, which is not part of this agreement, we are not going to let ships pass through the Strait of Hormuz. For President Trump, that is crucial to any kind of agreement. And so for ships not to be moving through that very narrow waterway in which 20% of the world's energy passes through, I think this very fragile ceasefire has become that much more fragile.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says
the ceasefire is subject to the safe reopening of the Strait of Hormuz.
In a New York court, Rex Heuermann has pleaded guilty to killing 7 women between 1993 and 2011 in what are known as the Long Island Gilgo Beach murders. During today's court proceedings, the judge asked Heuermann,
"Are you pleading guilty voluntarily of your own free will?" Yes.
More from CBS's Tom Hansen.
Those first 3 counts were first-degree murder for Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, Amber Costello, and the second-degree murder charges, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Jessica Taylor, Valerie Mack, Sandra Castilla. Now, also, what was revealed in court today, an extra person who he admitted to murdering without actually facing charges of murder. That woman is named Karen Vergata.
Heuermann was arrested in 2023 and connected initially to one of the murders through DNA testing. 4 of the 6 largest U.S. airlines have raised prices for checked bags since the war with Iran began. CBS's Chris Van Cleve has more from Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport.
At least $45 for the first bag, $55 for the second bag. But if you're checking a third bag on United or Delta, this is where they really hit you. That's going to be $200, up $50.
Gas prices edge higher again, pushing the national average further above $4 and marking the highest level since summer 2022. Only 3 states now have average gas prices below $3.60, while 5 states top $5 per gallon. CBS's Jim Krasula reports on another indication of possible benefits of being married.
Adults who have never been married have a much higher risk of developing cancer than those who have been married. That's the finding of researchers at the University of Miami Miller School of Medicine, who studied more than 4 million cancer cases. The increased risk spans nearly every major cancer type and is especially pronounced for preventable cancers like those linked to smoking.
Stock surge on Wall Street. This is CBS News.
I want to know what's going on in the world.
I'm Tony.
There are big questions that all of us are asking. I want to get you the answers.
How are you?
I'm Tony DeCopel. Join me on the CBS Evening News.
A deadly night in Kent. We're going to explain all that in just a minute. But first, we're going to go to KIRO Newsradio, real-time traffic. And we have stabilized our travel times wonderfully. I-5 Federal Way to Seattle is 37 minutes. The First Avenue South Bridge has fully reopened after it was closed for the morning commute because of some sort of issue we don't quite know about all the details about yet. And I-5 southbound is doing pretty well. We're in good shape. 31 minutes. Lake bridges are clear. 405 northbound, there was a collision just north of 167. It looks like that has cleared. Renton to Bellevue is now 27 minutes. Linwood to Bellevue, just 19 minutes. So that is a really nice drive, especially since we had a collision in Kirkland that was blocking for a while. Everywhere else looks good. The I-90 merge looks good. Even the South Sound is a speed limit drive in most places. This report is brought to you by Home Comfort Alliance. Summer's fast approaching. Get a quote for a new air conditioning system on your phone in just 60 seconds from Home Comfort Alliance. Visit homecomfortalliance.com right now.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Jillian Raftery. A deadly night in Kent as police investigate 3 murders in 2 separate incidents. First, police say they found 2 people in their 20s shot in a backyard near Kent Ridge High School just before 10:30 Wednesday night. A second scene unfolded just hours later. Investigators say someone found a man lying on a sidewalk outside a bar on West Meeker Street, bleeding from what appeared to be stab wounds. No suspect information has been released in either case, and again, these cases are believed to be unrelated. An Olympia man is under arrest, facing multiple felony charges tied to child exploitation, and investigators warn there may be additional victims. Washington State Patrol detectives arrested the 49-year-old after tracking online activity involving child sexual abuse material back to his Olympia home. Investigators say a search of his computer uncovered numerous illegal files. Detectives say he could face voyeurism charges. Evidence shows he secretly recorded people in places across Thurston County. A $4 billion deal will preserve a significant share of hydroelectric power for Seattle and includes millions for salmon run preservation. Seattle Council member Dan Strauss says the agreement bridges decades of disputes with tribal and environmental groups.
Time does not heal wounds. Healing action heals wounds. And that is a bit of what we are here to do today.
Not a great night for Seattle sports teams. The Mariners lost to the Texas Rangers. Kraken men's hockey also has been on a losing streak, dropping their 6th straight game to the Minnesota Wild. The Torrent women's hockey has had a much better record at 8th in the PWHL, but they still were not able to beat number 1 Montreal in Canada. Seattle needs to win Wednesday in Ottawa to keep their slim playoff hopes alive. Now we're going to get a check on your weather, which is the best news of the day. 61 and sunny, 65 and sunny tomorrow. It's 52 degrees right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday to all of you. It is the Gee and Ursula Show. Ursula is out today. Don't worry. Ursula will be back tomorrow. Nick is here. Sophia is here. So we're having a good old time. I'm not by myself. No way in the world I could do this show by myself. Coming up at 11:30. Agree to disagree. Guess what Sophia did again? She says, it says on the show sheet, Sophia's cooking.
Only for subject 2. I have one for subject 1.
Oh, you do?
I got a subject 1, and the subject 2, I'm cooking.
Oh, you're cooking.
I'm always a chef over here. You never know what I'm up to.
There you go. There you go. All right. Appreciate all of you hanging out with us. If you have some things to say and you want to text us on the Muckleshoot Casino Resort text line, text us. 888-973-5476. It looks like the sun is out today. What a beautiful day it is in Western Washington. Let's get to it.
Top stories at 11.
On the Gee and Ursula Show.
All right. There's a brand new law aimed at holding Washington sheriffs to higher standards right now. However, it's facing a legal showdown. Just days after Governor Bob Ferguson signed it, 4 Eastern Washington sheriffs filed a lawsuit to block it. According to the Seattle Times, the law ties a sheriff's ability to stay in office to whether they maintain their law enforcement certification, something every other officer in the state is already required to have. So Porter says that it closes a gap, making sure that the people leading departments meet the same standard as the rank and file. But sheriffs suing say it goes too far. They argue that it takes power away from the voters because instead of a recall election, a state commission could effectively remove an elected sheriff by pulling their certification. The law also adds basic requirements like experience, background checks, and signing a statement that you qualify. Now, a judge will decide whether to pause the law before it takes effect. Now, before I weigh in on this, I would like to ask you. Here's the question. Who should police the police in this situation? Do you agree with the law that Governor Bob Ferguson signed to hold the sheriffs to a higher standard, right, and be able to take away their law enforcement certification? Or do you think that is too far? Text us, 888-973-5476. I would love to hear what you believe. Now, don't get it twisted. I am all for accountability for everyone, no doubt. And I do think that this came about because of the sheriff of Pierce County, who's just, I don't know, he's just, okay? However, my stance on this topic right here is it's simple. If someone is voted into office, then the power to remove them should stay with the voters. Now, if you want to change that rule, because right now in King County, the sheriff is appointed, right? If in whatever county, if they want to vote to start to have an appointment of sheriffs rather than the people voting, okay, that's a different story. But I'm sorry. Even though that there's certain sheriffs that, yeah, I don't think they should be there anymore, I still believe that, look, if they got voted in by the people, then the decision for them to be removed should be by the people. That's just the deal we low-key, we kind of make with our democracy, right? Yeah, you don't like how they're doing it and what they're doing it, you organize. You talk about it. You vote. You vote to replace them. If and when they win, if there's a potential for a recall, then that should happen. The people should have that decision for any sheriff that was voted in. Because I'm going to tell you, it's a slippery slope right here. Now, look, I'm not a judge or anything like that. But you start taking away the power away from the people, then it's going to be a tough thing because the people that are going to be the body that is going to make these decisions, how do you pick the people, right? How do you pick the people that makes that decision to decertify a sheriff? Is that voted on by the people or are those picked? It gets a little messy. Again, this is a slippery slope. So I'm actually on the side of the sheriffs. Even though there's a sheriff that I just don't agree with being in office, that doesn't matter. The people said yes. So that person should only be decided to be removed by the people. It's not hard. Move on to another topic is if you're in the car right now, maybe you're on a 405 listening to this. What if I told you right now that the Washington roads, the highway systems are among the worst in the entire country? Would you believe me? Look, the report points to congestion, cost, and overall system performances as major issues. How bad is it? Check this out. They ranked 50 states. Of those 50 states, where do you think Washington ranked? 48th out of 50. The state ranks 43rd in rural interstate pavement condition, 44th in urban arterial pavement conditions, 39th in traffic congestion, with drivers losing about 34 hours annually. So how do we get here? Now, I had a cheat sheet because this morning I talked about it with Chris Sullivan. And let's be real. Like he said, the state is underperforming, or I should say there's an investment that is not happening to these roads. And according to Chris Sullivan, he talked about there being $1 billion being short every year for how much money needs to be used for these roads. The infrastructure right now, let's be real, it's 20 years behind. People are constantly moving here, contrary to popular belief, and people says folks are leaving. Until things change, people are still coming here, and that's why, whether in the last 20 years, your commute has changed significantly. I think the 405, I just have to say, no freeway here in this state frustrates me more than the 405. So if you're someone who makes that commute, I would say number 2 might be 167. But if you make that commute every single day on the 405, bless you. That has to be rough. No doubt. You got people, a lot of us are spending a lot of time in our cars. And I know this is where some of you probably going to text in and say, gee, now you understand the whole work from home. And speaking of that, could you imagine if everyone was back to work 5 days a week, what traffic would really look like out there on the roads? My goodness. So, look, traffic is outrageous. You're not wrong. The state of Washington is 48th out of 50. I wasn't shocked.
Can I tell you something kind of funny, though, that I was laughing at? Like, 49th is California, which makes sense because every single day that I'm here, I'm like, why do I feel like I'm driving in Los Angeles? But number 50, what do you think the worst state is for
Let me see.
For roads?
Let me see. For roads.
Well, it's for everything. It's
For everything,
basically
yeah.
not cost-effective in roads. It's not what you think. It makes sense when I say it, but it won't be on the top of your head.
Hold on. What do you guys think? Text in. What state do you think is 50th? Don't cheat either. So 49th is California. Mm-hmm. Washington is 48th. What would be 50th? Like a little congestion and everything like that. I feel like Texas is fine. Arizona is like pristine. Like their roads are, seriously, it's pretty good.
Well, they're 41, so they're not doing as great as they could be.
No, they're not. It's not Illinois. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not a Midwest because they are really into investing. Is it on the West Coast or the East Coast?
It's completely not what you're thinking at all.
Is it Alaska?
It's Alaska.
Oh!
Which at first I was like, you know what? I guess because the whole thing is the whole ranking is based on which highways aren't cost effective.
Okay.
And I guess in Alaska, it's not very cost effective, whatever they're doing over there. But surprised me. And the best state is Virginia.
Virginia's number 1?
Yeah.
You know, I got to tell you, I've never been to the DMV. Right, I've never been in that area.
Never a DC trip ever?
Never. I haven't done that. At some point in my life, I should probably do that. I would like to do that. All right. Can we have some fun?
Yeah.
Because it is the 11 o'clock hour and fun needs to be had. So here's the question. Imagine that you just bought your dream home and you can do anything you want with it. What's one feature that you would put in your house? No money. You have all the money to take care of it. what would it be? I'll tell you what mine is as well, and maybe Sophia and Nick can kind of share a feature that they would have in their home. But here's why I'm asking this. So there's a Zillow Gone Wild story. Zillow Gone Wild is a reality show that features some of the craziest homes on the market. And just recently, a Seattle home was featured. Located in Cap Hill, Zillow says the home was originally a church built in 1908. The listing is on the market for $2.42 million and has a bunch of historic stained glass details. Now, here's the fun part to this house. They have a hidden whiskey bar. So, again, it had me thinking, if money weren't an object, right, and that some absurd, extravagant thing that you would want to put in your home, and why? This is so easy for me. Every day, probably, it doesn't happen till around 5:30, 6 o'clock. That's my time where everything is kind of done for today. And I get to my favorite place on my couch, right there in the loft. And so this is easy. In my house, I would build a place where I can completely disconnect from the world. And what I mean by that, and just so you know, when I sit on my couch and I disconnect and I turn the TV on, that is my disconnect from the world, because I'm not really focused on news or anything like that, even though I'm sure if my wife's listening from time to time, I do start off with the news. But I would have a full-on luxury theater. It would have reclining seats. It'd have the lights be dim. The surround sound would be huge. And I'm talking about when I walk in it, I know, and I close the door behind me and I just shut off. Now, here's the thing about this place. It has a full popcorn machine. It's got nachos. It's got a fridge with my Topo Chico right there on deck.
You know.
And I'm just sitting that thing, and I'm just relaxing. So in my house, it would definitely be a theater. Now, I'm going to go to these text messages, see what you guys got. But I'm going to check in with Nick and Sophia. Sophia, I'll start off with you. What's the one thing you'd have in your house?
Yeah, I mean, the theater is good. I hate to say it, it's cliche, but I just would love to have a slide. Like, you hear about it when you're a kid. Everyone's like, oh, if I had a slide in my house, it would be, that's what every little kid, but it would still be so fun. Imagine you walk into someone's home and they just were like, oh, there's a slide. You're like, yeah, that's how I bring things downstairs. Yeah. That's how I get out of the house. Just bring a little whimsy into your life, because why not? It's your home and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I got to tell you, shout out to my Gen Z folks. I'm gonna say something right here that I think my Gen X would relate to. Okay. Let me tell you something, Sophia and Nick. And Nick, I'm gonna get to your answer in a sec. So there's used to be this show called Silver Spoons with Ricky Schroeder. And back in the day, you guys know Carlton that you guys see doing the corny dance, Alfonso Ribeiro. Yeah. That was his good friend. And I'm going to tell you, he had a train. When I was younger, I was really fixated on trains. Trains were my deal. Well, he had a train in the house. So if you were to ask me this question when I was younger, it would definitely be a train in the house. Now, text in if you are somebody who would have loved what Ricky Schroeder had in that house.
Like, was his house just so big that he could commute by a little train, that trolley through? Or
we never got. It was 80s TV, so we never got a really view of it. We just knew that it was a train. They went through. Full body. It was crazy. Nick, what you got, man?
Yeah, the train's cool. If I was younger, I'd love a trampoline room where you could bounce around.
Ooh.
But nowadays, I'm a musical guy, so I'd love a recording studio with all the instruments and, a big mixing board in there, like nice, sound silencing rooms. But aside from that, I like the idea of an outdoor patio or big deck in the backyard. If it was a nice climate area, like, I don't know, Arizona, Florida, or something like that. Even on warm days around here, I would love to have that area where you have the outdoor TV with the outdoor sectionals and the recliners and maybe a little fireplace around there too, with a nice view of the house as well.
And a waterfall pool. Read about that, right?
I like having that outdoor aspect of the entertainment, because the idea of the theater was what came to mind when G mentioned that, but I would like to have the aspect of just being outside too.
Now, Nick in Snohomish County says indoor to outdoor option lazy river.
Oh yeah, if you have the option of indoor and outdoor, I like that too.
Absolutely. Anything to just like make your life more convenient, but in the silliest of ways. Like, I'll be in the kitchen in just a second. You pull up in an inner tube. Ready for my next margarita, please? And then you just roll back outside.
Josh in Auburn says a bowling alley or a movie theater room.
You would so use that bowling alley, right, G?
It's not that I don't like bowling. It's just I have a stigma of bowling alleys. That's all. I got to stop that. All right. Man, movie theater would be real nice.
You probably just fall asleep in it, though.
Someone's asking for your favorite Topo Chico flavor.
Hey, okay. Let me tell the truth. I'm glad they asked. So here's what happened on the Topo Chico. First of all, I love the Topo Chico. But it's expensive, y'all. So lately, your dog been getting it at Costco. They got them the Italian sparkling waters, and they're nice and inexpensive.
Do you mean like Pellegrino?
No,
the brand that just says Italian.
It's kind of like their Kirkland brand.
Sure.
To sparkling water. No, it says that on there.
Yeah.
And so I had that sparkling water. So I quit doing the Topo Chico because it's expensive. But every now, if I feel fancy, I like that glass bottle. Now, this one comes in a plastic bottle. All right. Coming up next, agree to disagree. Sophia's going to cook. We'll do that next. Gee Ursula.
This hour is brought to you by DUI Heroes. Congratulations to KIRO Newsradio's Charlie Harger and digital content producer Patrick Janasek, nominated for a Northwest Emmy Award for investigative reporting.
It began with a question from the community. It seemed almost too stunning to be true.
KIRO Newsradio is honored to be the only radio station nominated for the prestigious Emmy Award as part of our commitment to impactful storytelling across every platform, reaching into the communities we serve on KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rurecka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with zero investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
Whether you've done a few things already or you're just beginning to plan for your retirement, it's never too late to make sure you have everything covered. Elder law attorney Rajiv Nagayach joins me. And you have an opportunity coming up that will really help answer some important questions, don't you?
We do. And every month we take 3 or 4 opportunities to go to the communities and educate people about what proper retirement planning is. The notion of retirement planning around having a hodgepodge plan, working with a financial planner, a lawyer, a CPA, a doctor, those pieces by themselves are not going to give you the results you want in retirement.
Among other things, you and the LifePoint Law team want to teach us about the Safe Harbor Trust.
The single biggest financial threat in retirement is an uncovered medical illness. A Safe Harbor Trust should be a must in most of these estates. but is not.
Be a part of the next seminars in Olympia on April 9th or Federal Way on April 11th. Attendance is free, and the information will save you thousands. Sign up now at lifepointlaw.com. lifepointlaw.com.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of its National Red Tag Sales event this Friday, April 10th through Sunday, May 3rd. Stop by any of its participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales event starting this Friday. Discover the D.R. Horton difference. Visit drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Trying to figure out assisted living for a parent or a loved one while life keeps moving full speed? It's tough. Hey, it's Spike O'Neill. Here's what I wish someone had told me sooner. Aegis Living. These are luxury communities, resort-style amenities. Voted Best of Western Washington and ranked #1 senior living community in all of America for 2025 by Seniorly. Go to aegisliving.com/spike, schedule a visit, and get a special take-home gift. And when you take the tour, don't be surprised if you turn to whoever's with you and say, this must be the place, because it is. aegisliving.com/spike.
Hey homeowners, are you stuck on the credit card treadmill and stressed because your consumer debt and monthly payments are too high? Well, Brock Hewitt here with a smart solution. Your home's equity in the Seattle Metro is probably larger than ever. It's like you're sitting on a stack of cash. Consider a cash-out refinance with Tila Mortgage to consolidate your high-balance credit cards, second mortgages, home equity lines of credit, and student loans, or get cash for a remodel. With interest rates finally coming down, consolidating your debt now may be the best decision you ever make. With excellent client reviews and trusted in Washington for over 25 years, Tila has competitive rates on refinance, purchase, or reverse mortgages too. Tila, spelled T-I-L-A, is a name you can trust for truthful, honest, and ethical advice for all your mortgage needs. Call Tila Mortgage today, 206-766-8888. That's 206-766-8888 or
Tila Mortgage LLC is a mortgage broker. NMLS 2472046.
For years, I've been telling you how much we care for our hens and the land here at Wilcox Farms. But don't just take my word for it. Our family's commitment is backed by trusted third-party certifications. Hartley Wilcox here. Wilcox eggs are USDA organic, meaning no synthetic pesticides or GMOs. We're certified humane, ensuring our hens live with dignity and space to roam. We're salmon safe, protecting Northwest waterways, and recognized for sustainable farming practices. These aren't just labels. They're proof that every one of our eggs comes from a farm that values animal welfare, environmental stewardship, and your family's health. So next time you're at the store, look for Wilcox Family Farms eggs. They're not only delicious, they're certifiably humane and organic, raised with care you can trust. Learn more at wilcoxfamilyfarms.com, because doing the right thing isn't just our promise, it's our principle. Wilcox Family Farms eggs, locally fresh since 1909.
Are you an HVAC professional in Western Washington? UA Local 32 offers industry-leading pay, advanced training at a state-of-the-art facility, and retirement benefits you can count on. For 135 years, they've had your back. Start building your future at ualocal32.com.
I saw her texting, coming up to a stop sign, and so I saw the accident coming, and she T-boned us.
In the blink of an eye, Crystal's life changed when she suffered a severe spinal injury.
The pain was something I had never experienced before in my neck. I got massage therapy. I saw a chiropractor. I was prescribed muscle relaxers so I could sleep. I got depressed. Nothing was relieving the pain.
Drugs, sleepless nights, and depression. Sound familiar? I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist. At Sound Pain Solutions, our treatments include high-dose laser combined with spinal decompression and other comprehensive therapies to rehabilitate damaged discs. We use treatments that are non-surgical, FDA-cleared, drug and pain-free.
I was able to get off my pain medicines, and I was able to sleep through the night, and that was what I was desperate for.
To learn if you're a candidate for our treatment, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025, or click soundpainsolutions.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Jillian Raftery. A fragile ceasefire between the U.S., Israel, and Iran so far stays in place despite a massive bombing campaign by Israel against Lebanon. Estimates say 89 people have died with hundreds more injured. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says there are non-negotiables for a road to peace with Iran.
The president will only make a deal that serves in the best interests of the United States of America, and he as a negotiating team will focus on this effort over the next 2 weeks, so long as the Strait of Hormuz remains open with no limitations or delays.
The Strait of Hormuz is where 20% of the world's oil travels. There was talk of reopening, and apparently it did briefly, but Tehran closed it again after those bombings were announced against Lebanon. Despite pressure from President Donald Trump to ban birthright citizenship, Supreme Court justices are skeptical, and former State Attorney General Rob McKenna says there's good reason.
It looks like the government's going to lose here. It may be a split decision.
He says the 14th Amendment has been consistently interpreted.
The language is clear. It's been applied the way it reads by the U.S. Supreme Court.
Washington and other states challenged the president's order last year, which led to an injunction and escalating court arguments. That sun up there is relief to our Northwest souls, but not our water supply. For the fourth straight year, officials have declared a statewide drought emergency here in Washington. Washington Ecology Department Director Casey Sixkiller says water supplies will not be disrupted in the Seattle-Tacoma metro area.
But let me be clear. We are all in this together.
Eastern Washington's Yakima Basin and other agricultural regions face serious shortages. Experts expect a warmer, drier summer and an intense fire season. Let's get your traffic now. And it is pretty much a speed limit drive in the South Sound. You get into the downtown core in Seattle. That's a different story. We still have quite a bit of slowing from Boeing Field into downtown. And from the south end, about from Northgate, because of that Ship Canal Bridge construction area, we are still dealing with some slowing on 405 northbound through the S-curves, but it's only adding about 3 minutes to what is otherwise a speed limit commute, and then you are speed limit all the way to Linwood on 405. This report brought to you by Global Credit Union. Global Credit Union, where members enjoy no-fee accounts and early payday with direct deposit. Learn more at globalcu.org. We are going to stay dry and sunny today, a high of 61. Tomorrow, 65 and sunny. Starts to get cloudy on Friday with a high of 68. It's 52 degrees right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio Northwest News.
All right, now, Nick, you just showing out today, man. A lot of these songs you play today, brand new.
Well,
man.
you know, believe it or not, this was Sophia's walk-up request because she's cooking up something good for us right
Oh, of course. Sophia, you know, Offset got shot yesterday, so you got to be careful.
Did he actually?
Yeah, I mean, he's okay, but he did. So I thought you did that on purpose.
All right. Oh, no.
Hey, here we go. Let's get to it. Agree to disagree. Brought to you by Guardian Roofing and Gutters.
One of these days, we just got to take off the gloves. Just really
It's a banging song, and that's all I can say. I was hey, stir fry my amigos, come on.
I like that song, too. But I like a little walk-up song for you, Sophia.
Hey, now, if I'm cooking it up, I'm cooking it up.
Yeah. What do you got?
Yeah, so we all make mistakes, but we're bound to. But what is the way to learn your mistakes? I was reading a story about this woman who wanted to find the comfiest pair of high heels to wear to a wedding. Mm-hmm. And you might initially think, okay, let's see, what is recommended to be comfy? What do the reviews say? What does an influencer say? What does ChatGPT say? Right. But she said, no, I'm going to buy 90 pairs of shoes and conduct my own research. I'm going to wear these. I'm going to see what I think is the comfiest. And this is kind of an extreme example, but it shows how people work in life, right? There are so many people who blindly trust the reviews and others who need to find out for themselves, and they'll get blister after blister in order to prove themselves right or wrong. So my question is, what is more effective, and what do you think we should all live by? Learn by doing or learn by example?
Learn by doing. You know, too many of us, and I understand, right? But too many of us don't try things based on our circle of influence and what they said about it. You didn't go to that restaurant because your friend said it was terrible, right? You don't like someone because your friend said something terrible about them, right? And, I'll give an example. I had a buddy of mine, this was last year sometime, and I had a buddy of mine said, hey, man, this guy said he knows you, and he said he doesn't like you. I said, well, first, yeah, get in line for that. There's a lot of people that don't like me. Most don't know me personally, but there's a lot of people that don't like me. Anyway, he said back in like 2005, you did this or said this. And I said, he's probably telling the truth. That is possible, right? But in 21 years, you can be different. You can change. So I believe, not to go deep, I really believe that people need to experience things for themselves. I don't like Florida. I don't like Texas. I don't like Idaho. I don't like Montana. I don't like North Dakota. I don't like South Dakota. Like all of these things that you don't like. Or I don't like Seattle because every time I look at Seattle, I see it on the news and this is what they're saying, right? I don't like downtown Seattle. And it's crazy, right? Because before we move on, I always laugh about this one. The people that use their platform to demonize Seattle, they love to tell you how awful Seattle is, and they're literally working from Seattle every single day. They don't ever tell you about any story that happens to them. They always point to everything else. So that would be like me coming to work every single day and telling you guys how bad Seattle is. You don't have a follow-up question to be like, well, wait a minute, G. Can you tell us about a bad experience that you had coming into work at KIRO? Yeah, I tripped a couple times when I was walking because I'm a klutz. I'm a little clumsy. But anyways. So yes, try it on your own.
People love to make generalizations, and I've seen that time and time again. And if something's actually happened to you, I kind of take your advice a little bit more to heart. But then again, like, maybe that's up to me if I want to crash and burn.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I forgot. It's Christine in Wallingford's birthday today. I didn't give her a shout out earlier today. Happy birthday, Christine. All right, what you cooking?
Happy birthday, Christine.
What you cooking?
Yeah, all right, here's what's going on in the kitchen. You've heard it again and again, opposites attract.
Yes.
But is that really the key to a successful partnership? You want things to be exciting, so different sounds fun. But the thing is, you still kind of have to be similar. And we all know that differences can be the root of some red flags or icks, as G loves to hear about.
Yeah.
And experts say the truth is believing you have plenty in common with your partner is actually more important than actual similarities. But a psychologist points out that if among 1,000 traits, if 4 of them make you and your partner alike enough, those 4 are the thing that are going to keep you together. And if you think about it, we crave likeness. And chances are that things that brought you together initially was a shared interest. So my question is, what do you think is the thing that keeps a relationship alive? Is it those differences, or is it actually everything you have in common?
Let's see. That's a deep question. And I would say that I think the number one thing that keeps a relationship together is appreciating any and all things about your partner. And when I say any and all things, I mean traits that you like, traits that you don't like. And they come together, right? I don't think that I think that there are things about me, I'm sure, that probably drive my wife nuts, right? But I think that those things still make me, right?
Right.
So I think that that's the number one important. Did they give the 4 traits that you didn't have?
Well, they were saying, of course, there are things that people don't like to talk about, right? Like the way you were raised or your family or things like that that are kind of in the background that are impacting the way, because you kind of crave that likeness. As much as you're like, we all want to be from different backgrounds, but if there's a little bit of a shared thing, it might make it easier for you to stay together in the long run.
Sure. And that's a deep one right there, because I truly do believe now what we were into, how we were raised will manifest later in life. So, Sophia, as I'm getting ready to turn 50 here in, I think, 3 days or so, 4 days or something like that. What's today, the 8th or 7th?
Today's the 8th.
Today's the 8th? So I guess in 3 days I turn 50. It's just now been recently that I'm really starting to understand really why I'm the way that I am. And what I mean by that is I left my home at 11 years old. So for my whole life, really, I've just been fixated on just a lot of times I've been alone. Like I didn't grow up. My sister's 8 years older, so I was home by myself. So I spent a lot of time playing with toys by myself. I spent a lot of time playing video games by myself. In school, in military school, when we didn't have free time, I was in my room by myself, listening to music and all the, you know what I'm saying? So I think even today, my downtime is when I spend time with my wife later on in the evening and the weekends. But for the most part, I spend my time, other than at work, by myself, fixated on trying to do something.
True. And if you're not with a person that understands that mentality, sometimes that can be a struggle in a relationship, right?
No doubt. All right. Text messages, feedback, and then we'll have words to live by. And Sophia, you got to come up with that one. Gee Ursula.
Congratulations to KIRO News Radio's Charlie Harger and digital content producer Patrick Janasek, nominated for a Northwest Emmy Award for investigative reporting.
It began with a question from the community. It seemed almost too stunning to be true.
KIRO News Radio is honored to be the only radio station nominated for the prestigious Emmy Award as part of our commitment to impactful storytelling across every platform, reaching into the communities we serve on KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
A multi-billion-dollar settlement is paying claims for up to 21 years. If you were exposed to weed killers at work or at home, your rights are affected. If you or your family has or had non-Hodgkin lymphoma, you could receive $6,000 to $165,000 or more. This settlement impacts you even if you're not sick, because this blood cancer can take 10 to 15 years to appear. If you stay in the settlement, you give up your right to sue. Learn more at weedkillerclass.com or call 888-403-8201. Paid for by the Roundup Settlement.
You bought an RV, and you got an automatic discount from Progressive by bundling it with your home or auto insurance. That's great, but a serious word of warning every RVer should heed. You don't need to talk about things like dry weight or dump stations. And you don't need one of those expensive water filter straws either, because the most extreme thing most RVers encounter is a campsite without hookups. So just enjoy yourself and Progressive's automatic discount when you bundle your RV, boat, or motorcycle with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-290-7100. That's 800-290-7100.
If you've saved more than $300,000, there's one thing you can do now that could make your savings go twice as far in retirement, and it's tax planning. That's right, tax planning could significantly reduce the taxes on your IRA and 401k withdrawals, Social Security benefits, and other investment income. Charlie Harger here. Find out how much money you could save with a free retirement tax savings analysis from the good people at Boston cost retirement solutions. To schedule your free analysis, call 206-210-1350. Tax planning for retirement could reduce your taxes not just for 1 year, but for the rest of your life. And the savings could be 6 figures. Let's find out how much money you could save. Call 206-210-1350. 206-210-1350.
For informational purposes only, actual results may vary. No statement contained herein shall constitute tax, legal, or investment advice.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return,
But I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though.
I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
What are you doing every day to support your liver? If you enjoy sweets, fast food, alcohol, or take any medications, that's a vital question to ask. Hi, I'm Sherry Torkas, pharmacist and health author. For over 30 years, I've helped people make informed decisions about their health, especially concerning prevention and long-term wellness. Supporting your liver isn't just a wellness trend, it's a daily essential. That's why I recommend Active Liver by New Nordic. It's made with plant-based ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and globe artichoke, herbs clinically studied for their protective and restorative effects on the liver. Active Liver blends traditional herbal wisdom with modern scientific research. Not all supplements are created equal. I trust Active Liver because it's backed by science, meets strict quality standards, and delivers true daily liver support.
Active Liver is available online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com, or you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
If you're hurt in a car accident, call Harold Car Law Offices right away. They'll save you time and get you more money from insurance while you're able to focus on recovering. Visit carlaw.com. 2 R's in car. Car accident? Call CAR.
It's Gee and Ursula, everybody. This show went so fast, I forgot about the next segment that was coming up, and I looked at the clock and I said, wow. All right. What do you got, Sophia?
All right. Well, I want to bring it back to the 9 o'clock hour, which, yeah, the show flew by so fast. We talked about weight loss impacting relationships, specifically Ozempic, the rise of people using that, and how that could kind of lead to a divorce boom. Which Bobby and Spanaway said that my wife recently lost 60 pounds and we recently got divorced. I told her she's beautiful and I'm still in love with her, but apparently she has a new attitude now.
Oh.
Crazy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know. It's rough. Sylvia and Puyallup said regarding the weight loss and divorce, it could also be a money issue that is causing these divorces, or at least creating tension. I'm not talking about the cost of Ozempic, but the cost of a new wardrobe, new shoes. That was my biggest problem. Not with marriage, but with my budget and what can I wear. I lost almost 100 pounds and my clothes obviously would not fit.
Okay. So I guess my question would be, right, and here's a question. Sure, if you lose a bunch of weight, 50 plus pounds, 100 pounds, you need to get a new wardrobe because obviously your clothes don't fit. But is that all of it? Or is it just now, do you think that when you lose that much weight, you start all of a sudden wanting to buy more fashion?
Yeah, well, I mean, that kind of connects to Cliff in Woodinville, who said weight is used as a proxy for many other personal attributes. Same for, if you dye your hair, if you buy certain hats. These impressions aren't always right, but often they are. It's not surprising that relationships are affected, both positively and negatively, when only one partner transforms one of these proxies in a significant way. My wife dropped a lot of weight on a GLP-1 and has had an incredibly positive change in both her feelings and our relationship. We couldn't be happier with the effects, but that's not always the case for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, so good point.
Yep.
Moving forward, jumping forward, we had a little fun in the 11 o'clock hour. We talked about what your dream house would be. So a lot of people had some really great answers. So I thought I'd rapid fire some of these off.
Okay.
Diana and Sam Hamish said, my dream thing for my house is a Beauty and the Beast style library with the high shelves and the moving ladder.
Okay.
Which I think would be so fun. Like, even if you're not, like, just to collect all the books, so look at them. Come on now.
Nice.
B and Puyallup said an oyster bar, which I have questions.
Whoa. Hey. I would go to somebody's house. Oyster bar?
Like, do you have fresh oysters delivered to your house every day?
You get fresh oysters on deck all the time. And I'm talking about oysters from like Louisiana down in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different. But we get some good oysters up here too. All right, what else you got?
Kate in Auburn said, I would get a pool and a hot tub with a roof that closes and a huge, gorgeous garage with door windows to open and close. I feel like this comes from my growing up in Chicago.
Yeah, you know what? I think pools and hot tubs, I think those get old quick.
Really?
Like, for an example, if you have a hot tub, or maybe you grew up with a hot tub, after the first 6 months or a year, you're like, okay, we're over it.
I don't know. I would love a hot tub. I feel like if I had a hot tub, I have a friend that I grew up with, and her parents have a hot tub. And, she grew up with that hot tub. But every time I'm over there, it's like, she's like, want to come over and hang out in the hot tub? And we're both like, yes.
Okay.
Never get sick of the hot tub. But I could be wrong. And Roger in UP said, I'd have a full-scale home gym and a separate room for a guitar collection. Pretty cool.
That would be cool.
A full-scale gym. If you could have your own Equinox at home. Come on now.
I would like the home gym because it'd probably give you an excuse to get in shape.
So during COVID, I did that. Matter of fact, right now my wife is like kind of suggesting a little bit of a home gym. I might do a little something. I don't want to work out at home. It just does not work for me. All right, what else you got?
Well, and 253 said an actual culinary kitchen with an actual chef there, which I agree. I think if I could have anything in my life, a personal cook to make me everything.
Yeah, let me get that. All right, Sophia, it's now time for the words to live by. What you got?
Okay, well, we were talking about relationships at the end of the last block. Yeah. We were doing agree to disagree. And so this is a quote from Leo Buscaglia, I think is his name. And it says, a loving relationship is one in which the loved one is free to be himself, to laugh with me, but never at me, to cry with me, but never because of me.
Oh. Got a little deep there, Sophia.
Got a little deep. Got to think about what we're talking about.
Cooked a little dessert there, I think.
My other thought was to quote Pitbull, but, I felt like maybe not Mr. Worldwide today.
I mean, you do know that song that by Migos is a song talking about cooking crack, right? Just want to know.
Hey, G, come on now. Agree to disagree. Thanks, G.
I mean, it's a fact, sure.
I apologize. Nick, what you got?
Well, we heard that spending these days has a chronic cost disease where some young folks have to pick specific items to use their cheese. But now instead of going out, there's choices being made for Ozempic's help to get their figure right for what they paid.
Sexy thing, you.
And maybe big dream house ideas would fall right through the cracks if it meant to shed the stubborn pounds and cut that body tax. And if you end up regretting that investment, sometimes you just got to learn through experience. The best teacher out.
Okay, Nick. Very well done.
Right, yeah.
Nick, what you doing the rest of the day, man?
Probably going to enjoy the sunshine. Maybe go for a little run after work,
Okay. All right.
Get ready for Flex Fridays.
Get ready. Okay. Love it. How about you, Sophia? What you doing the rest of the day?
Yeah. I mean, I had plans to go to the gym, but then after that, I think being outside, I've been enjoying my walks every single day. Like, this shift is great because you get off during the day, and I just love being outside.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. Thank you. Appreciate you, Sophia. Nick, thank you, man.
You too, man.
All right. Hey, the Jake and Spike show, they're coming in next. Make sure you stick around for that. We'll do this again tomorrow. Enjoy this beautiful weather. This is what we signed up for. This is why we had to go through it to get to it with all the bad weather. Some of the good stuff is coming now.
You got to defrost a little bit.
All right, gotta go. Appreciate you for listening. Love you for that. And as always, be kind.
Hope you have as much fun as we have. So long, everybody.
Where did you come from, angel? How did you know?
The Gee and Ursula Show.
There's two types of people. One's that use a washcloth. The other are bare hand bandits.
Hate to break it to you, but
Ursula, you a bare hand bandit?
Weekdays 9 to noon. Watch live on YouTube.
Step inside and let the excitement take you places.
This is Muckleshoot Casino Resort, the ultimate spot for action that reaches incredible heights, luxury that knows no bounds, and live entertainment that always thrills. It's all at one incredible destination. So when you look for the best, look nowhere else. Muckleshoot Casino Resort, the biggest and best in the Northwest. Muckleshoot.
Whether you've done a few things already or you're just beginning to plan for your retirement, it's never too late to make sure you have everything covered. Elder law attorney Rajiv Nagayach joins me. And you have an opportunity coming up that will really help answer some important questions, don't you?
We do. And every month we take 3 or 4 opportunities to go to the communities and educate people about what proper retirement planning is. The notion of retirement planning around having a hodgepodge plan, working with a financial planner, a lawyer, a CPA, a doctor, those pieces by themselves are not going to give you the results you want in retirement.
Among other things, you and the LifePoint Law team want to teach us about the Safe Harbor Trust.
The single biggest financial threat in retirement is an uncovered medical illness. A Safe Harbor Trust, it should be a must in most of these estates, but is not.
Be a part of the next seminars in Olympia on April 9th or Federal Way on April 11th. Attendance is free, and the information will save you thousands. Sign up now at lifepointlaw.com. lifepointlaw.com.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return,
but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though.
I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction or your money back. File today the easy way in the Credit Karma app.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
My name is Christine, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, was a healthy 34-year-old, and 3 months later, he was gone. Thankfully, he had life insurance. Ethos made it so easy. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. 100% online, no medical exam. Life insurance didn't take away the loss, but it did give us the space to just grieve.